Ah, I'm Yanni's pimp. Who needs a $5 blowjob? Did somebody really say that? Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Listen, what in the hell am I doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? I don't know. I don't know. This is the Insomniacs live stream. I want to do kind of like a mental health check in, man. I've had a really difficult week. Personally, and I know that a lot of you out there have done the same. I mean, this is a very tough time to be alive, really. Um, so I just got this insane, and this was what kind of motivated me to do this. I got back to back. I got two insane messages through people that I don't really know personally. I guess they're kind of friends or whatever. And one of them was trying to talk me into, or wanted me to talk them into going to rehab. And the other one, sounds like they're suicidal or they're going to do some sort of murder suicide thing. And I cannot even respond back to them. I don't know how to get in touch with them. It's just, a random person I know on the internet. So if you happen to be watching this, I wanted to go ahead and tell you, man, it's really it really isn't worth it. I've been following your story and we've been, sort of talking back and forth for the last couple of weeks. And we've shared a lot of our experiences in terms of like mental health and what or at least what I've tried to do in order to become, a little healthier, a little more balanced, and what I've done to continue to stay sober. And I think that this person really hasn't, they haven't done that. And I know that there are so many people because of their lost jobs, because they're just so divided in terms of, just consuming social media and they just don't know which way to go, left or right. They're at a moral crossroads. Do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? Do Black Lives matter? Do they not matter? Is it all lives matter? What's going on with my bladder? I mean, that's a terrible, what am I don't know. I mean, so I get confused sometimes myself, and I have to like recenter myself, and just really just stay in the present. And the way that I do that is by communicating with, people that just sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. And then sometimes, no matter what you say, they're going to do whatever they're going to do anyway. And that energy that you put off, or at least the energy that I put forth and that I send out into the universe, as long as it's positive energy, I feel like, it's a valuable thing. But sometimes you try so hard, to save people, I guess, or talk them down from the ledge. And God knows many dozens of people have done the same for me. So I feel like it's my moral obligation, to do it to them. But it's really difficult for me not to feel responsible, for them when they don't respond, or they do for a little while and then they just, sort of cut me off. And that's kind of the thing that I've been struggling with YouTube, because, I kind of got into this thing again as like a hobby. I mentioned this before, this isn't my job. I never planned on being a full-time YouTuber. I just wanted to kind of see what I could do. I had some free time. I'm still waiting to be cleared to go back to work. That should happen on Thursday. If I'm lucky, get back into exercising. I'm not allowed to exercise right now. So I want my life to get back to kind of normal. And it hasn't been for a very long time because I've been very sick. And so again, because I've had so much time, I want to give as much of myself as I can to other people. And that was the idea with the channel. Is one, I felt like I had some things that I really needed to get out of my system. And the other part of it is that maybe somebody, one person, two people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, I don't know, who knows? So who can put a number on something like that? Because, really, how would I know? Unless I've talked to you directly or you've sent me a message directly. And even then, that might just be words. Until I actually have an opportunity to interact with someone on a personal level, I don't know if I've had any impact. And even then, I don't know unless I actually see them. I mean, I'm one of those people that really, I mean, unless I see it, boy, if I can touch it and feel it, then I can believe it. Beyond that, it's really difficult for me. So I'm going to go through some of these comments here. And I did mention earlier, I did upload a video earlier about prison boot camp. And I was a little late. It was probably 3 or 4 hours into it. Somebody had the idea to go ahead and pin a comment. Any question you have, let's do a Q&A. And I think I was just a little late to the party on that thing. So there were only like 4 or 5 questions, or maybe just nobody really cared and they didn't really want me to answer any questions or ask any questions. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go through some comments here, and then I'm kind of going to get to, I might be making a huge mistake here, but I want to get to an example of the kind of stuff that people send to me and how much it impacts me personally. Like, I bleed for these people, just like I know that some people bleed for me. You know, they really want me to succeed and they want me to do the right thing and they want me to make something out of this, or if not out of this, then out of my life. And there may be only a handful of those people, but I know you're out there. And so we'll just kind of start from there. It was just weighing on my mind, and I really was having a hard time sleeping. And I said, hey, you know what? Why not do a live stream? So Jason Thompson says, sweet, 2 vids in a day. Can't beat that. Yanni must be taking a break from helping Biden with his campaign. You know, I'm not trying to be overly political. I want everybody to do the right thing. I want everybody to want better for everyone else. I did mention, somebody kept asking me about Joe, and I did say that I had not been able to get on the phone with him. They asked me if I'd ever been able, get on the phone with Joe, and the answer is no, I haven't. But he's very busy. He's running a campaign, and let's be real. Would he even remember if I did call and talk to him? Who knows? Ian Stewart, sup Yanni, good to see you back. Just in from night shift, so give this a wee listen while I try and wind down. Spelled with a Y. That must be, you must be English or Norwegian or Canadian. Mr. Popzilla. Now listen, Mr. Popzilla, I will never forget. When I OD'd in that parking lot back in April 2018, I spent 4 months in jail. I started off at Chesapeake City Jail, and I ended up going to Hampton Roads Regional Jail, where all the problem children go. And this was the one person. I received correspondence. One person wrote me a letter, and that was Josh from 23andMe. And then one person sent me a hot meal, and that was Mr. Popzilla. So, big ups, big props, big shout out to Mr. Popzilla, man. I really did appreciate that Philly cheesesteak, man. That came just at the right time. It hit the spot, buddy. That M182, stoked. Jason Thompson, my, what a pleasant surprise. I'm in another public chat with Asshole. About to watch another PJ video. We're going to be best friends in no time. That's an interesting idea. Because the 2 letters of Prison Junkie do kind of, it's PJ, right? I mean, why not like my own brand or Prison Junkie branded pajamas? Think about it. Just think about it for a second. All right. Dylan Lehman Anderson, just another day. Hit that like button like your mama taught you, right? You goddamn right, boy. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Hey, Virgin. Oh, 8-Ball. When will I get married? Whenever you're willing to give up your virginity, I think that's probably a really good step. Women typically, when they tie the knot and they go down that aisle, on marriage day, wedding night, on that first night of the honeymoon, they expect to get something in return, and it's that dick. Joe Delicious. But you didn't quit YouTube because here you are. You start with a fat contradiction. Grrr. Well, hold on a second. Who said I didn't quit YouTube? I actually did quit YouTube, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Tory Burns says, Yanni, what the fuck you doing, bro? I mean, you're looking at it. What does it look like I'm doing? I'm doing a live stream at 3:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. That's what I'm doing. Give me a break. I think Yanni has a chubby. There is something about that name, Joe Delicious, that just makes my junk stand up like Christmas candy. You know what I mean? Just like a candy cane. Or that, the little star or whatever at the top of the tree. I'm not going to be blasphemous, but I think you know what I mean. Is this like wuss music? I don't know. It's just kind of like a random thing that I picked. I thought it was better than the hip hop, whatever. Maybe it wasn't the right thing. I don't know. Who gives a shit? Keck says, what up, dude? Same here. Gun in hand last night, was about to say it. I mean, is that all you guys are talking about is jerking off? Gun game? You got your gun? You got your gun handy? Is it holstered? Have you ready to pull it out? Don't pull it out on me. You got the wrong one or the right one, depending on how you look at it. No super chat. I don't have a super chat. It's impossible for me to have a super chat because I'm not monetized. I don't know how many times I have to say this. My channel isn't monetized. I don't make a nickel from this. However, I think I did figure out a way to click on something somewhere. So if anybody did want to give me any sort of assistance so I could potentially continue to make contact if I was still doing YouTube, then that could be a possibility. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I want to see how this goes. And if it goes okay, if it goes the way, I'm going to explain it in just a second. All right. This is a whole lot of capital letters that don't mean shit to me. Oh, yeah, I do remember. I do. Look, who's going to forget a Philly cheese sandwich in jail with fries and a drink? I want to say it even had like a Philly cheese with maybe a little pizza or something. I don't know, man. It was delicious. I totally remember it. And the funny thing about that Philly cheesesteak, I was actually eating it with insane Frankie Lane. You guys can Google this guy. I'm actually going to do a video on him, or was going to do a video on him, because he was my best friend in that particular joint. So, my best friend was a murderer. And there's actually security footage of him putting one right in somebody's temple. 7 minutes. He's sitting there talking to this guy, and then boom. No more conversation. No more. And the interesting thing about this guy is he's kind of a vigilante. In my mind, he's the real Batman. What's very interesting about his case is he actually was sentenced to 20 years, which is the lightest sentence you can get for first-degree murder. And you'd think, well, okay, they're just going easy on him. It's his first time and he's kind of old. No. No, he'd actually already done 25 years, excuse me, for another first-degree murder, somehow miraculously made parole. And there's a story behind that. 5 years later, waxed a guy in his girlfriend's front yard. And still, jury comes back guilty. Judge gives him 20 years, 3 years for the gun. Minimum sentences on both. Minimum sentences on both. There's a reason why. I'll get into it some other time. So, wow, there really aren't that many comments here, unfortunately. There's a lot of people in here. We've got almost 35 in the chat, which at 4 o'clock in the morning is, to me, is a lot. My debate is Kraft mac and cheese or a can of chili with beans and Ritz crackers. I mean, both of those are absolutely terrible for you, but if you're going to go one route, in my mind, first of all, Kraft mac and cheese, does it change? Every bite's the same. It doesn't ever change. It's the mac, it's the cheese, it's the mac. It never changes. So to me, the can of chili, sometimes you get a lot of beans, sometimes you get the meat, sometimes you get the tomatoes, sometimes the pepper, sometimes it's the sauce. I mean, it's got a little different, it's got a lot of flavor, happening in the chili. Throw in the crackers, you got a little bit of crunch. To me, variety is the spice of life. Plus, I always recommend whatever you eat, whatever you consume, make sure it has protein. I don't give a shit if you eat a Klondike bar. Make sure you chase it with, I don't know, a stick of beef jerky or a protein bar. It'll make a difference for your metabolism. That's a pro tip right there. How long did I live in Kansas City? Okay, so I lived in Kansas City from age 8 to 17. Yeah, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, in DeKalb County. Hatched in DeKalb County General Hospital. Parents divorced when I was about a year old. Lived with mommy in Charleston, South Carolina till I was about 7, and then my mama remarried. And we moved. We moseyed on up to the Midwest, to Kansas City, Missouri, specifically Lenexa and Shawnee Mission, Kansas, and then moved to Chesapeake, Virginia Beach at 17. So my senior year at high school. So the whole formative years, my whole all the time when my plums was getting nice and ripe and turning a really bluish shoe, ready to take to market. If anybody knows where that reference comes from, give me a shout. But is that a green screen? Everybody wants to know, is this a green screen? Why? Let me ask you a question. Where would you get that green screen? Where would you get it? I mean, where would you get that? You guys really think that's a green screen? Come on, man, don't be ridiculous. Of course it's a green screen. Are you really thinking about quitting YouTube, or are you just messing around? Before I get into that, what foods did I crave the most while serving time? Anybody that knows me, that knew me when I was locked up, would tell you one thing and one thing only. If there's one thing I'm a fiend for, actually I take it back, two things. And they all carried over. One is ice cream. Now, depending on where you go, again, I've been in 7 different prisons in 2 different states, varying degrees of security, all the way from minimum level 1 out to close security, i.e. maximum security level 5. I've run the gamut. So depending on where you go, there are sometimes options for ice cream. There's always an option for something. Now, at St. Bride's, for instance, we had, it was like frozen milk, and you could either get orange or you could get chocolate. But it really wasn't ice cream. It was like, it's the kind of stuff that you open up the bag and it's got like the little shards of, it almost looks like meth surrounding the iced milk or something. I mean, it was something. It was cold and it tasted okay. But it almost tasted like it was like diet ice cream. It was like something you'd give to your grandmother in hospice, like right before she croaked. Oh, Grandma, here you go. Here's your diabetic ice cream. It was really kind of horrible, but at least it was, it was something. So what I did was I actually made my own ice cream. And if there was anything that I was a absolute specialist, a professional, I mean, just really, really, really had my technique dialed in, it was ice cream. And it was low fat. It had a lot of protein. I used powdered milk, which is something that you can get in Virginia State Prison. You can't get it in Georgia. You can get it in Virginia. And so I would mix a little bit of like Swiss Miss in there. You need a lot of salt, a lot of ice, a big Tupperware container. And you need a lot of patience, and you need to redo it a couple of times. But eventually, you can throw little things in there like Oreos or M&Ms or, whatever. We tried a lot of different stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was my favorite. That and peanut brittle. Oh my God. Oh my God. If I wasn't making it myself, I made it a lot. And honestly, I ate a lot of it post-workout. It was just like a treat. Every time I accomplished something in prison, a good workout, I know it seems counterintuitive, but a good workout, a good day at class, or tutoring people or whatever, I would always go for the peanut brittle. And a lot of times I would make it, but sometimes, you get lazy, you don't want to get into all that. So there are always peanut brittle salesmen, and, that's their hustle. Their hustle is, they get the peanut butter from the kitchen, they grab a few Oreo sprinkles, sometimes they jazz it up with a little caramel, they can kind of spread it out, just like, a crack dude, gets his whip game on and then spreads it out a little bit, what I mean? It's a little thin, but the real thick peanut brittle, boy, doesn't get any better. Other thing is a Bombay. Now, this is something that's interesting, man. There's never been, I've never even heard of a Bombay in Virginia. I've never not heard of one single time. And it's a video I've always wanted to make, and I'm sure me mentioning it, somebody will make it. Go ahead. I know how to make it better, so knock yourself out. And it's like a prison energy drink. And not only is it an energy drink, excuse me, my mouth's a little parched tonight. Jesus Christ. My channel has some footage from my last trip to Syria where I lost a good girlfriend to one in the chest. Is that for real? There's no way that's for real. Look, let me tell you something. One thing about me, I cannot stomach. I mean, to this day, I just cannot watch people die. I've seen enough people die in real life in prison to not ever want, and I always had a weak stomach for that kind of thing. Not that I'm going to throw up, but I mean, I don't watch like Saw movies and Terroristas and Hostels. I don't go for that stuff. I don't go for the torture porn, the blood and the guts. I mean, I like a good violent movie, don't get me wrong. Love them. But if the whole sole purpose of the film is to make you squeamish because of the realistic violence, I'm out. So I definitely don't want to see real people getting killed. It just fucks me up. Fucks me up bad. All right. Mr. Popzilla, the thumbnail was fire. Well, that's actually video footage from a video that would have been upcoming had, some other things not happened. The boot camp video was good. Yeah, let me know. I mean, let me know what you thought about the boot camp video, the Ate the Man's Face video, the Pee Wee video. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see, would you like to get me to get it more out in the street? Because that's what I really like to do. Part of the reason I haven't done it is I wasted, and I mentioned this the last live stream. I say I wasted. I guess I didn't waste the time. I mean, if you learn a lesson doing something that doesn't work out, at least you kind of know next time what not to do. And let me tell you something. To be honest with you, I wanted to push myself, and this is where everybody said I was crazy. Now, keep in mind, I do see a therapist, right? I see a therapist. I have a psychiatrist. I have a therapist. I have a peer recovery specialist. I do the program stuff. I have a sponsor. I mean, it takes a village to keep this guy sober, and I utilize every single tool in the bag and every person that I can possibly get some information from or get some help or have an ear to bend, man. I use that to the max. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of, honestly, paperwork to get to the point where I am now. Where was I going with that? Where was I going with that? I don't know. I completely forgot. Oh, so anyway, so the video, I spent 3 days with a guy that I was in rehab with, and I was going to do a series catching up with people that I went to rehab with. And naturally, drug addiction is a beast, you know what I mean? I mean, it is a very, very, very difficult thing to overcome. And let's keep it real, a lot of people aren't successful. Some of them are, and those, of course, are the people that I would want to prioritize in something like that, because as much as I want to give you the real, and positivity has its place, you also want to give people hope, but I also want to be real. And so he had done 22 years in prison and had been in 12 different prisons in Virginia. He had been in 4 or 5 different prisons in Florida. And the whole thing was we were going to talk about prison experiences. And this is a video that I shot. The problem is that he became a real handful because he wasn't present the way I needed him to be. And I'm sure you guys can kind of read between the lines. He just wasn't. He has a pending case, so that got me a little dodgy there. I didn't want to be responsible for putting the nail in his coffin. He initially said, "I don't care." He's begging me to shoot. I mean, initially, this guy calls me up from D.C. and he says, "Man, I got 2 hookers," and he's on FaceTime. "I got 2 hookers, and it was a black chick and a white chick, and I'm about to shoot some cocaine. You want to come check this out?" And my first response was, "Hookers shooting cocaine? I'm there. Hang tight. I'll be right there." Then hang up the phone. I thought about it for a minute. I was like, is this really a good idea? I mean, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I mean, who does this benefit? Just to see this human car crash. And this isn't just going to be a car crash. This is going to be like 2 trains colliding in the middle of metropolitan New York. Like right downtown Manhattan, like Batman Dark Knight style. I mean, just complete catastrophe. The whole stadium's going to blow up. And not to mention the fact that what kind of position am I putting myself in? Because let's be real. If there's one drug that I ever think about, it isn't heroin, it isn't meth, it isn't pills, it isn't booze. If there's one thing that I think about, honestly, it's cocaine. That's the one that sometimes eats at me. That's the one that I need the most help with, because that's generally the starter for me. So I turned it down. I talked to my sponsor about it. I talked to my girlfriend about it. They said, you're out of your mind. I said, okay. Then this guy calls me up and says, if I can get to Leesburg, which is about 35, 40 miles from here, will you come pick me up? And I'm like, well, with what? With the hookers and the blow? I mean, what are you trying to do? I don't want to shoot that. I don't want to shoot it. It's not safe for me to do it. It's dangerous to be around you at this point because I'm not in a position. I could be around drugs, yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, sometimes I'm weaker, sometimes I'm stronger, but I just didn't want to put myself in that position. He kept haranguing me, harassing me, and bugging me, and blowing me up. And finally, I was like, "Look, listen, motherfucker. If you can get to Leesburg, I'll come pick you up. All right, but you got to have a landing pad. You got to have a landing zone. You got to have a resting spot because it ain't with me. I mean, I live in this one-bedroom sort of studio setup here. I've got a toilet, I got a little fridge and a microwave. I don't even have a dishwasher. Okay, I wash my dishes in the bathroom sink. I'm not over here living with a lot of space. It ain't the lap of luxury, but it is mine. I do pay the bills for it. Somehow, some way, I get it done. So, of course, I pick him up, and I make this clear to him. I said, listen, man, I'm not doing this. You're not staying in my house, okay? You're not staying in my place. Forget it. I got all this stuff around from video games and all the, whatever. I'm sure you can imagine. Keep in mind, I've been by myself, sequestered, quarantined because of how sick I've been. And I really, for the longest time, up until about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, was even cleared to even be around people because my autoimmune system was so shot. That's how sick I was. I've spent 3 weeks in the ICU in the last 2.5, 3 months. So finally he broke me down. I went and picked him up. Of course, on the way back, he's talking about nothing but shooting videos. I mean, I know you made the little trailer and you're trying to get back into YouTube and all this stuff. And again, I impressed upon him. I said, listen, this is for me. This is strictly for me. This is a hobby. I'm trying to cathartically release and expel some internal demons, stuff that I've been holding on the inside for the longest time. I want to get rid of that stuff. And I feel like the best way to do it isn't telling my sponsor, isn't telling a person in recovery because they don't get it. I know that you guys get it because you saw some of this stuff unfold a couple of years ago. And I was like, I'll be goddamned if my epitaph says OD'd in a parking lot. And that's the end of me and that's the end of my story. Fuck that. So finally, I picked this guy up. Of course he wants to stay at my place. And I'm like, no, I don't care. I'll take you back to Leesburg. And I had been planning on shooting this thing in a particular way, and he's a disaster, and he's completely fucked up. So finally, I call a mutual friend of ours, and I kind of like beg him to let him stay there because he's still hell-bent on staying with me. And I'm like, nah, it's completely off the table. I'm starting to get concerned about it. And to be honest with you, the guy is so hammered. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen a movie like Requiem for a Dream or Train Spotting. The first half of the movie, these movies, Blow, Goodfellas, these are some of my favorite movies. I don't even know why. I understand Goodfellas because it's a masterpiece, right? But some of these other movies really, they glorify the shit out of drugs in the beginning. Everything's fun and games. Everybody, you've got the party. It's just an amazing time. Everybody's getting laid. It's beautiful. They're high. They're ecstatic, euphoria, everything around. It's just the best experience in the world. And of course, halfway into it, they bite off more than they could chew. And then their life goes down the toilet. They lose their kids. They lose their wife. They lose their whole family, the house, the mansion, the Lambos, the this, the that. Next thing you know, Boogie Nights, you got Dirk Diggler pulling out 13 inches for some guy in a poncho in a parking lot. That's how it ends up. Not saying I did that. The parking lot and the poncho, 13 inches, who knows? That's between me and OnlyFans. But anyway, the point of it is finally I'm like, okay, let's develop a game plan here. You stay at this guy's house for the night. He's acting like you can. Now, he stayed with him before. This guy's tried to get sober multiple times. And keep in mind, he has OD'd, I think, 4 or 5 times in just the last year. Because this is not a game, kiddos. Fentanyl is it. I live very close to Baltimore, very close to DC. I live in a relatively small town out here in Winchester, Virginia. But all that stuff comes from there. And it comes from there very cheaply. People will bring it to this area and they'll double, triple, quadruple their money. The hustle is very real. You just have to have a car and, balls the size of basketballs. So, fast forward to next morning. Finally convinced them to stay at this place. And I said, listen, here's the plan. You can stay at the day program. We've already talked to the person that runs the rehab, the same rehab I went to a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago, whenever it was. Well, it was 2 years ago, actually. And he's a regular customer there for a variety of reasons. I'm sure you can, put the rest of the pieces together. And he's like a lot of addicts. They try, and then they want somebody to do it for them. They want somebody else to fill in the blanks for them. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. There is no magic pill. You have to put real work into it. You really got to dig deep. I mean, they all say it's an inside job, okay? All this stuff you got rolling around inside of you, all that hate, all that resentment, all that fuck you, all that, it's you, it's not me. It's you, it's not me. If you had only done this wouldn't have happened. But at the end of the day, no matter what, unless you were a 4-year-old and your uncle molested you, above and beyond that kind of situation, you probably played a role in it somehow, some way. It was either your attitude, some of your actions, your intentions, your motives. You have to start taking responsibility for your role in these interactions and in these transactions. And this is a person that maybe is constitutionally incapable. They talk about this in the book. There are some people, these hopeless, pathetic sorts, and I don't mean to denigrate them. I'm not trying to talk trash about them, but there are these people that will never get it. Why? Because they just can't be honest with themselves. There is going to become a point in time, and I think I mentioned this in the first video, or the first full video that I did, where I looked in the mirror and then I saw something different and I kind of embraced it. And that's what happens, I think, with addiction in a lot of ways, where you start looking around at everybody and you say, man, that's the sucker. These people are suckers, man. They're not doing it. They're not living life like we're living life. I mean, I'm over here banging dope 1,000 miles an hour and life is beautiful. I'm in a parking garage. I'm sharing a needle. Oh, shit, I just threw up on myself. Oh, maybe I just peed on myself. Oh, what is that brown spot on my back? I might have shit on myself. I might have found myself or somebody else, I didn't do this, somebody else, I might have found myself with 2 50-year-old hookers like this guy. And he thinks that's cool. In his state of mind, he's like riding around in somebody's minivan with 2 busted-ass hookers that look like they ought to be living in a Salvation Army. In his mind, he's like, yo, check out these broads right here. Yo, I got a couple of 10s. A couple of 10s? They're not even 2s. What is wrong with you? Do you want to come out and shoot me shooting cocaine? And yet, even with all of that said, there's still a little part of me that's like, yeah, I do want to see that. I want to take it to the limit, man. I want it to be as raw and as real as possible. And if I get this close to it and I don't do it, I put myself in a dangerous position and I just get as close, like the moth to the flame. I just get as close to it as possible. I just almost touch the stove. Have you ever tried to do that? Where you're like, I want to see if this thing is, and you touch it and you burn your hand or whatever. I did this the other day, trying to fix the air conditioning in my car. It wasn't the rubber hoses, it was the metal clips keeping them there. And I had to run it in order to bleed it all out and put it all in. And, at the end of the day, hey, I fixed it, but, it didn't come without a little bit of pain. And guess what? That's how life is. Everything worth having comes with a little bit of pain. In some cases, a lot of pain. So, I've made this very short story incredibly long. So anyway, the next day, we got him in the rehab. He can do the day program. He'll be there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. He'll be fed 3 meals. and he'll stay over at this person's house that he already knows, that he's already stayed there before and has been sober 4.5 years, actually was struck by lightning at one point and started using drugs after he was struck by lightning. He was this really talented artist, literally got struck by lightning, started getting high, and has been trying to put the pieces together ever since for over 10 years. True story. I'd love to tell the story one of these days. I'd love for him to cooperate. But anyway, so what happened is, okay, fine. He's like, I'm ready to go shoot this video. I said, okay, I'll come pick you up. It's about noon. About a week and a half ago. So I picked the guy up. He's not in good shape. But he's not in horrible shape, but he's not in good shape. And I start questioning, like, well, do I really want to put this guy on camera? And he's not even close to sober. But it's real. This is real. I can't come out and explicitly tell everybody. You guys are going to have to figure that out for yourself. I'm a big believer in that. I don't want to steer the ship. I want you to be able to find land, find the place on your own. Okay, fine. So I bring him over to the house. What does he do? He goes into my bathroom and shoots heroin in his neck. The door's cracked a little bit. He doesn't even bother closing the door. I'm like, hey, yo, what are you doing in there? I look in. Curiosity got the best of me. I mean, I'm concerned about him, obviously. He's shooting dope in his neck. In his neck. This is not a person, really that should be unsupervised for any length of time. This is a 48-year-old man who's done 23 years in prison and is virtually guaranteed to either go back or he's going to be dead. It wasn't a year ago he OD'd twice in 2 days. OD'd, went to the hospital, got out, OD'd again. 2 days later, went to rehab, OD'd in rehab. Constitutionally incapable. But I still have hope. I still have hope. I still always want to believe in the best in people because there are people who believed, in the best in me. So he comes over. Now I always keep Narcan because I do deal with, addicts and alcoholics from time to time. Now, what this had kind of turned into, and I'll get into this in just a second, was a real problem. At this point, he's doing this in my house. First of all, I could get into a lot of trouble. I mean, I think I could explain it. Hey, I'm trying to help somebody get sober. And they're like, oh, yeah? Well, this guy's shooting heroin in his neck. You're doing a hell of a job. What else is going on? Well, there's nothing going on. I mean, go ahead, search the house. But who knows? Maybe this guy hid something under a toilet. Who knows? I got to get him the fuck out of my place, right? So boom, back to his hometown, which is another hour away. Now here we are in the middle. Well, yeah, like the middle to early evening of day 2. So he's just an unbelievable handful as I'm taking him down to Warrenton where he lives, which is about an hour from Winchester. And he's got all these grand ideas. We can go shoot over here. There's this great bit of scenery over there. That's something I'm really into, which is like architecture, okay? I mean, I like architecture. I'm into cool lights and monuments and mountains and all kinds of cool stuff. In sobriety, I've really embraced the beauty, not only of nature, but of man-made objects, buildings, landmarks, monuments, whatever. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm losing light, though. It's very difficult to shoot at night, and here it is. It's about 7 o'clock. It's pitch black dark, probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock. He takes me out. Oh, I got the perfect place. We're going to go out to a cemetery. I said, well, now that's interesting. That is the perfect place for you, right? Because that's exactly where you're going to be. So we talk about prison stories a little bit. My mouth is very dry. He's interrupting me every 30 seconds. I can't even ask the guy a question before he just flips off on another tangent to something else. And he's progressively getting, I let him out of my sight for a few minutes. He's progressively getting more and more, trashed. And so I'm trying to navigate my way through this. And the thing about it that really bothered me is it's like, okay, I've invested 2 days into you. You've done nothing that I've wanted you to do. You begged me to shoot a video, and I wanted to do something with a little bit of freaking hope. This is a disaster. You really want me to shoot that? I mean, look, I could shoot this. I could upload the footage. People would see this, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I honestly think I did a very good job. But now I don't feel comfortable doing it until, something happens where he, I'm not getting him into trouble. It's just very tough. So it just morphed into one thing, into the next. The next minute he's, we're at the city walk, and he's hollering at girls, and he's like, come over here, shoot this while I run game on these girls. And I'm like, I'm not going to shoot that. I don't want to be associated with that. What are you talking about? Then his old lady gets into a fight with him over in the middle of the square in front of this Chief Justice monument, which I thought was a really cool shot. And then we go back and we talk about it, and everything is okay. I said, you realize what I've shot here, right? Now, I know you're going to court on Friday for a dope charge. Now, I'm not going to upload this until after you resolve this. What do you want me to do? Now we're on 2 full days, almost 2.5 days that I've dealt with this. What do you want me to do? And they're like, fine, no, run it, put it up. And the girlfriend is there, and she's like, people need to know what this is really about. And I said, okay, let me figure it out. Let me take it home. Let me take a look at the footage. I'll figure it out and see if I can make, Shinola out of shit or whatever. And it turns out I could, but then the next day it's a problem. I don't want you to use it. I got the pending case. I said, look, I'll make it, and then I'll give you editorial control. You tell me if it's okay or it's not. Plus, I need a couple of extra shots to sort of fill in the blanks. And I'd love to see you come back around, and we've seen you at your lowest point. Let's see you get a little better. And whatever I can do to get you there, I don't really have money to spare, but I do have time. I do have, transportation. I do know some people. And whatever it is that I can do, man, I'll give you the shirt off my back in order to make it happen. I don't give a shit if there's a 0.00001% chance you're going to make it, and it's probably less than that, to be honest. I'm willing to do that for you, man. And then the next day, again, it was an issue, and I had to really sit on it for a couple of days, and ultimately I came to the decision that, it just isn't right. It just isn't right. Even though this one tragedy would, I think, help dozens, if not hundreds, maybe thousands of people, I still have to think about the person who is going to suffer as a result. And that's the thing about addiction that a lot of people don't understand, is that this person, is suffering. We talk about it in the program that it's a feelings disease. Most addicts I know or alcoholics are incredibly sensitive people. They build up resentments over things that really don't even exist. They think people are talking about them. It's not really happening. They become paranoid for all sorts of reasons. They feel their self-esteem is so low. There's this huge void inside of them, and they want to do whatever they can to fill that void, and usually it's drugs and alcohol. But of course, it manifests itself in other ways. But at that point, I wasn't ready, and I put myself in a very bad spot. Honestly, I was talking to my therapist about it, who is a recovering alcoholic, and she, told me, what in the world are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? I said, because I wanted to push it to the absolute limit. I feel like I owe it to myself. I owe it to the audience. That's what I set out to do. I really wanted to explore the psychology of addiction, the mental health issues that are associated with that, and also reassimilating back into society and how difficult that is. And it's been very difficult for me. And I've only done 7 years, and it's been in a piecemeal fashion. And this time around, something snapped. I don't know if it's because I went in sober. I had different expectations when I came out. There's a lot of things that I do want to explore with it. because I really haven't been right since. And then you piggyback COVID and being quarantined and being very sick. You know, it's a tough call to get. That's a tough call to get when 1 minute you're giving blood because you know something's wrong. And I've tried to take everything out of my life that could have been a detriment, from processed foods to other medications that my psychiatrist had prescribed me, to other things to alleviate, you know, my pain, whether it's aspirin, can't take it. Ice cream, can't eat it. Anything processed, can't have it. I mean, it really got to the point, and then for 2 weeks, I couldn't even hold down food. So, I get it. I get it. As bad as it's been for anyone else, if you didn't lose your life, it's just about been that bad for me. The miracle is that somehow, and I think a lot of it had to do with my life was on the line. You know, they say, oh, the next use. That could be it. And I always blew that off. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Because I convinced myself, well, I could go have a couple of drinks. It'll be okay. And sure, or I could go do a little blow and it'll be okay. Or I could recreationally shoot meth or heroin. It'll be okay. I just do it one time. And sometimes I could. And not do it again for a couple of weeks or even a month or even longer. But then that barrier breaks down in your brain and you're like, well, you did do it. You got away with it that one time. And if I can tell you one thing about a convict, it's we like getting away with stuff, or at least I do. I like breaking the rules. There's something so freeing, you know, being a rebel, you know, looking at authority and telling them to eat shit. You have no power over me. I don't care what you say, what you do. You want to throw me in the jail? You want to lock me up? Go right ahead. But you're going to have to come get me. You're going to have to take me. You're going to have to cuff me. You're going to have to catch me first. And what's crazy about it is there really is an element of that, you know, and I guess that's that kind of criminal way of thinking, which is, you know, something that I've really, really tried to deal with over this last couple of years. So anyway, the long story short is I did ultimately agreed within myself not to deal with this or not to upload this video, but it robbed me, or it stalled me for 3 or 4 days. And I said, okay, I'll get back on the horse with something else. I'll just get back on the horse with something else. I wanted to do something that was really like, you know, just as personal as it could possibly be. I wanted it ripped from my guts and from my soul. And I wanted to show it to you, and then I wanted to present it, and then you tell me what you think. I step back, I walk away from it. What's your thoughts? Because I want to know. I'm genuinely interested. And so, because I didn't want to, and I do not want to direct your thoughts or shape your opinions. There's so much of that going on in the world where everyone has an agenda or a motive. You know, my motive strictly was, you know, can I entertain people? I'll try. Can I enlighten people? I'll try. Can I illuminate people? I'll try. But ultimately, the conclusions that you draw are your own. They're not mine. And I'll be damned if I project that on top of you. I don't want to do that. I want to present you with material. You make your own decisions. That's how we learn in life. That's how we grow. So I didn't do that. I got off on that. And then I did a live stream like last week. And at the tail end of it, I thought it was going well. It was kind of spur of the moment. Oh, whatever, just kind of like this. And at the end of it, you know, somebody puts the address, and I'm not asking for anything. There are tons of people who are like, oh, we want to, you know, throw your PayPal up there. We can't donate any money. Why don't you start a Patreon? And I said, well, I got mixed emotions about that because I don't do handouts. And there's nobody in the world on YouTube or in life that says, Yanni, we'll take a handout. I don't do it. I never have. I either work for it, I earn it, or I don't want it. So I tried to figure out a way. How do I do this to make this transactional? Because in a way, I do think I can do a lot of good. How do I figure it out? And that's something that's been bothering me. And then the next phase of it was this, and this is why I quit it. Last week, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. I have people reaching out to me. I have people threatening to commit suicide. I need to talk them down from the ledge. I need to save them. And I'm like, who am I? I'm nobody. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just a guy who's been through a lot of shit and maybe can relate some experiences. I can show you what I did or tell you what I did. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. We're all a little different. Now, in the program, they'll say, well, we are all the same. We do share this common bond, that, once you become, it's like horses and zebras. They have 4 legs, they've got a mane, they've got the snout, the whole thing. I mean, if they were all painted black, they'd look the same. But, addicts and alcoholics are like this. Once a horse becomes a zebra, there is no going back. You're always going to be that. I think that's how the analogy goes. And so today, because of that, I spend a lot of my time around zebras because we're a little bit different. And as insane as my thoughts are, as manic as I get, I always feel like there's somebody I can pick up the phone and call, and they'll at least listen. And maybe by listening, I can just talk and I'll talk my way through it. Sometimes that's it. Sometimes there's a lot more. Sometimes I can apply a step. Sometimes I can employ cognitive behavioral thinking. Sometimes it's meditation. There's lots of different techniques that I've acquired over the last couple of years to combat the crazy. So I felt like, okay, well, I like making the videos, but it isn't just fun for me, right? Like, these are my real personal experiences. They're not something that somebody else heard somebody did. Like, this is what I did. And I was going to get into addiction, and this is what happened to me. I have had 9 hospitalized heroin overdoses. 9. That doesn't count anything that happened in the street. I've had 9. And what's crazy in my head is I don't even think I've got a heroin problem. Really, it was a cocaine problem. I've just used the heroin to come. I just had a lot of friends that were getting high on dope. That's what my head tells me. What would it tell you if you had 9 hospitalized heroin overdoses? You don't have a problem? What would it tell you about alcohol? I drank while I was on antabuse. If any of you guys, any of you military guys, or more of your hardcore drinkers know what antabuse is, it basically inhibits your ability to process alcohol and also makes you sick when you take it. I became such a hardcore alcoholic in 3 months after not drinking for years. I just started drinking every day. Every day when I would come home from work, I'd drink until I fell asleep. It happened out of nowhere. And within about a month of this, I was like, I went to the doctor. I said, this has got to stop. How do I stop this? He says, for one, go to meetings, get a sponsor, all that stuff. My mouth's getting really dry, so I'm going to chew gum for a second. Sorry, I know it's disrespectful. It's a byproduct of my ailment, which is another reason why I don't upload as much as I'd like to, because my energy level, the fatigue that I feel is so pronounced that sometimes I'll have an enormous amount of energy like I normally do. Most people think that I'm high. You must be on something. You got to be on. Look at him. Look at his eyes. He's on meth. He's got to be. No, that's just me. That's just me. And for anybody who knows me, says any different, they're lying. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. You know that's not true. So, excuse me. Where was I? Where was I at? So the doxing. So somebody at the end of the live stream put a family member's address out there because I said, no. Not putting my PayPal up there. I'm not taking any donations. I just hate the word donations. It makes me sick. Donations for what? What am I, a charity case? Yeah, am I having a hard time getting by? Sure. Am I sick? Yes. But I'll make it, and I don't need your help. I don't need anybody's help, and that's always been my attitude. I don't want nothing from you. I'll make it on my own. Okay? Yeah, I've stayed with my mom a couple of times when I got out of jail for a couple of months, but that's it. You know, I buy my own stuff, buy my own cars, pay my own bills, pay my own rent, pay my own mortgage, pay my own insurance. By hook or by crook, that's what I'm going to do. Because that's important to me, to be self-sufficient, responsible, and own me. You know, the problem with that is that, you know, again, I'm trying to reconcile what the hell could I offer in return? So now I've had 4 days of dealing with this asshole who's been an utter disaster. Then I do a live stream and I talk about it. And at the very end, I say, no, I don't want that. Until I can figure out a way to give you something in return, I'm good. I'm good. Just learn something. Just listen to me. Or learn that I'm not the person that you want to listen to and move on. And I'm okay with that. You don't like my voice. You don't like my cheesy 70s game show voice. People always ask me all the time, well, why don't you use your real voice? This is my real voice. It may sound like shit because of the stream because I haven't worked out all the technical kinks. It really boils down to money. I know what to do. I just don't have the gear to make it happen. It's okay. I've got to let this stuff go. Stop being such a perfectionist and just let it go into the wild. Put it out in the ether. Put it out in the universe and let's see what comes back. So that's where I'm at with that. You know, that's where I'm at with that. So she puts the number to my folks. I shouldn't have said that. Fuck it. It's too late now. I don't live there. I live 5 hours away. Puts my address. Please send money to this address. But I immediately, I think, oh, this is an underhanded trick to get people to dox my family, who have nothing to do with this and cannot stand it. They cannot stand what I'm doing right now. You were up at what time doing a live stream? I'll get a call about it tomorrow. I may get a text about it shortly. What the hell are you doing? That's not a job. This isn't what you do for a living. You can't have a sleep schedule. Nothing bad or nothing good happens when the lights go off, right? Right? I mean, to me, lots of good things happen after 9, 10 p.m. And to be honest with you, I'm a night owl. I've always been that way. So that's why I said, okay, well, I'll go a different way. I could do a live stream at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but it just doesn't have that je ne sais quoi, that same feeling. That it's just me and you, the fence post, the mosquitoes outside, and some of them are inside. It allows me to stay more present because it's less chaotic. Now, is that conducive to a positive mental outlook? It's where I'm happiest. It's where I feel most comfortable. This is the way I lived in prison and jail. I would try and sleep as much during the day. Usually I had a job or had some other responsibility to attend to. Usually I'd sleep 2, 3, 4 hours a day. I'd catch up on the weekend. That's always been me in real life and inside. Because I love the night. Everybody's sleeping. There's a couple of nice little snores going on in the background. I'm sneaking a little peek at the TV. In Virginia and Georgia, there are no TVs. You're hit there. A lot of cases, no AC. Very, very different kind of place. All of them, all the prisons there. Especially maximum security. Totally different thing. There you got fans, which is a hell of a weapon, by the way. A fan motor and a pillowcase. Well, you want to talk about an equalizer in a fight? Man, there's nothing that's going to splatter a head like a fan motor in a pillowcase. Phew. See you next week, homeboy. Or maybe see you never. So these are all things that I'm trying to work out. How do I offer something in return? Honestly, I still haven't figured it out yet. I don't really know. Maybe it would be like Patreon. Hey, look, because a lot of the stuff that I've done so far, most of the best stuff's on the cutting room floor. I just couldn't put it on YouTube because it's just too much. It's too intense. The language isn't what it should be. I even have a part that was kind of gory. Blood. It wasn't real, but whatever. Or maybe it was. Who knows? You'll have to find out. So I'm like, if this is compromising my vision, because I have a vision for what I could do and what I could bring, and if it's compromised just a little bit, then I don't want to do it. And then on top of it all, here I am with 2,500 subscribers, not bothering anybody. I'm not mentioning anyone's name. I'm not calling anybody out. And you and I both know that I have history with some of these people in prison YouTube. Let's cut the crap, right? But here I am 2 years later, not bothering a soul. I wanted to make this shit the way I wanted to make it back then. Now it's on me. It's all me. One man band. I get to make it the way I want to make it now. Like it, leave it, fuck it, forget it, however you want to feel about it. This is me. This is the way I want to do it. But now, it's a problem. It's a problem. And I'm not going to say anything specific. You want to do some digging, you figure it out. Why do you care? I'm looking at you, man. Why the fuck do you care? Why? Huh? Look, man, there's already multiple videos about me being a crackhead, OD, and junkie. I don't want to open up that box. You don't want me to open up that box. I promise you don't. Because if you do, I'm going in for the kill. Okay? There's not going to be any mercy. I'm going for straight body bag. So don't do it. Be nice, be kind, do the right thing, and stay the fuck out of my way. I didn't do nothing to you, man. Period. You want to keep making it out like I did? You want to keep taking shots at me? Keep doing it. You think I don't know? You think people don't tell me, they don't send me links? You know they do. Stop playing games with me, dude. You know goddamn good and well how sick I've been. And then you want to try and kick dirt on me on top of it all? And now there are people coming out talking about mental health and addiction who don't know anything about it. Are you fucking kidding me? You know, you work a program and you are completely abstinent from drugs and alcohol, then you have a right to talk. If you do not, you need to shut your fucking mouth, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you're going to hurt somebody. You're going to hurt somebody who really has hope, who really believes in you, who believes that you have the way. Well, if this person did it, then I can do it that way too. But you really don't know what they're doing. And I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Don't do it. And if the way to stop going down that route is for me to just get the hell out of the way, I'll do that. I don't need to do this. I mean, I felt like I needed to do it just for me personally. But none of this stuff is monetized. I haven't asked you guys for a nickel, or gals. I'm sure there's like 3 of you. But I haven't asked you for anything. And honestly, I really shouldn't have said anything because I've just taken the high road, and I'm not going to mention any names. All I ever wanted was to help. Now, sometimes I was misguided, and I did make some mistakes. But the days of burning people at the crucifix are over. The days of serving judgment on people based on opinion and pointing your finger and running your mouth, they're over. They're over. Cut it out. That shit's not going to fly anymore, man. I'm not going for it. So with that out of the way, and it's not just one person, there's multiple people. It's not just 2, and in fact, it's 3. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to talk about addiction and mental health. Well, okay. What are you doing about it? I mean, last week you were saying, hey, it's cool to smoke weed. I don't judge anybody for getting high, and I don't. Look, there are plenty of people out there, they could recreationally stick PCP up their asshole. They could do it. It's out there. Somebody out there, they might be in Bangladesh or Zimbabwe or Tasmania, but there literally are people out there that can actually shoot drugs recreationally. It ain't me. It ain't me. And most people, but I'm here to tell you, most people, it's even worse than the recidivism rate. It's funny. I actually looked at a statistic regarding prison boot camps when I was making the boot camp video. I should have thrown it in there. What was interesting about it is the recidivism rate for non-boot campers was 73%. It was 73% was the recidivism rate for non-boot campers. It was 75% For people who went to boot camp, what are we doing? What is going on? What is the point of all this? There is no point. It's to fill a budget, employ a few knuckleheads, erect a few buildings, pay a few judges' salaries, and that's it. And that's it. It's a very sad state of affairs, and I hope to God, I have a very good friend of mine actually who has a line. COVID got in the way of it. I'm not going to put his name out there. I'm going to do an interview with him, but he works for a local rehabilitation organization, and they do what's called peer recovery. And this person is actually my peer recovery specialist, and he oversees the entire operation as far as the peer recovery advisors are concerned. And their thing is to bring Suboxone, and I have mixed emotions about this drug, okay, as training wheels or whatever. If it's done correctly, yes, there's a need, there's an option. But he's had a county in the state of Virginia, which is insane. This place has changed so much in the last couple of years, to actually put Suboxone in the jail. They'll have a block dedicated to Suboxone. They'll have 30 days once they get out with Suboxone, and they will be given treatment for those 30 days after. And they will be given a sober living option after, provided they comply. If they don't comply, though, they don't necessarily have to go back to court, which is the Portugal method. In Portugal, I don't know, about 10 years ago, Chasing the Scream, I recommended it in my last live stream. I'll recommend it again. A lot of different countries have a lot of different approaches to drug addiction. You either buy the disease concept or you don't. The fact is, it's in the DSM 4 and 5. There is treatment for it. It is considered a disease, an allergy of the mind. Some people, they are allergic to bees, they break out in hives. They're allergic to peanuts, they can't swallow. People like me, allergic to drugs and alcohol, I break out in handcuffs. That's what I do. I do things that I normally wouldn't do. I'm a fairly level-headed individual as far as it goes, but once that stuff is introduced into my system, who knows what's going to happen? All bets are off. I mean, really, in a lot of cases, all bets are off anyway, but in a legal way. I'm kind of unpredictable anyway, but you add that other stuff to the mix, it's a completely different ballgame. So they've actually had a county agree to use this as a pilot program, which is revolutionary for this state. I think there are other states that do this, but it's a real step forward. No matter how I think about Suboxone or how I feel about it, if it's applied and taken in the correct manner, and of course it's a dangerous thing to throw in the jail. Why? Because, a lot of people that take Suboxone, they become Suboxone salesmen, or they use it to mitigate, their habit, get high for a couple of days. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. But so all that stuff coalesced together. Forget about that last story I told you. Just a little nugget. I said, you know what? It's not worth it. You people want this stuff so much. You want this little corner, this little neck of YouTube so much. I'm over here. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm trying to help people out. And I'm also trying to help myself out, which is ironically is the best way to help someone out, is to help yourself out, as long as it's not an exchange of money. It's a transaction of information, feelings, personality, spirit. That's all I wanted to do. And I felt like money, introducing that into the equation, no matter how broke I am, I'm going to eat. I may not be able to put gas in my car. I may not be able to buy the next hottest video game. I might not be able to buy an Xbox Series X or a PS5 or whatever, but I'll get by. I'd love the opportunity to deliver better content, a cleaner live stream. Something that sounds a little bit better, that looks a little bit better. I wish I had a newer computer and I could cut the stuff a little bit faster. I mean, the fact of the matter is my computer's so freaking slow. It's 10 years old. It takes forever you don't even know what you're cutting until it's cut. Really, until I'm done with it, I'm not even sure for real what it's going to look like. So all of these things, you know, my camera's 7 years old, whatever. Sure, I would love some help. And if anybody would make use of that stuff, it would be me because I know how to use it. So, like I said, all that stuff coalesced together, and I said, you know what? I've shot a bunch of stuff. I've got a couple of videos in the can. It's not worth it. Even though everyone really, 95% of the people, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. I was ready to go to war with trolls or ignore them or try and, turn the other cheek or whatever. I really didn't know how I was going to react, but I wanted to, do it as positively as I possibly could. But the little bit of reaction that I did get, the few people that were able to watch the stuff that I've done so far, they've responded really positively. They love it. They act like they do anyway, and they want more. And I would love to be able to give more to them. I really would, because I enjoy it. Not all this stuff is fun. Some of this stuff is painful. Like everything that I've said thus far, I really should have kept my mouth shut. It's too late now. I probably should delete it, but one of you guys have already captured it. I really didn't want to address this situation in any specific way, but I think it's important to know that there are lots of forces that are aligned against me. And again, I ask, who am I? Who am I? I am nobody. I'm just a guy trying to get his life together financially, physically, and mentally. Meanwhile, staying sober through it all. And if I could entertain people along the way or teach them a few things, or maybe they can teach me some things, I want to be as interactive as I possibly can. So this is kind of what I wanted to get off my chest. I literally, just to give you an idea, there are people that reach out to me individually all the time, and this is something I don't even know what to do with. What would you do? How would you act if you'd read this? And I'm not calling this person out because nobody knows who it is. Listen to this. Yeah, I'm losing my shit, man. I'm going wild and taking too much anger out over certain things and disrespecting Brazilian jiu-jitsus, I think is what he meant. BJJs, BJJS. I feel embarrassed more than anything. Beating somebody up doesn't make me a badass. It makes me a hothead with self-control issues. Normally, I'm not like this. Now, this was just a couple of hours ago. I said, did you get a charge? Then I didn't hear anything for a while. I said, not yet. I don't think there will be any because the one who got the kick came at me first, and the other guy is my niece's quote-unquote father, even though I'm the one who takes care of her. The motherfucker can't even read fans. I hate bringing it up. I don't know what that means, but to show you how little he cares about his daughter, I offered and offered multiple times to teach him basics so he could at least read to her at night and could learn more as he goes and wasn't going to tell anybody at all. And nothing. He blew it off now, and now she reads better than him at 6 years old. I know I sound like an asshole, but I swear I'm not, man. I said, okay. Fast forward 4 hours later. Well, my sister just threw bleach on me, pushed my 70-year-old dad down, and when I reacted, the cops were called again. If they try to take me in, I'm not going, bruh. My life is already turning slowly into a shit show, but I appreciate you being here to talk to. I honestly always respected you and looked up to you as the real one behind whatever. I'm not going to say that. So it's been cool getting to know you and you allowing me to vent. I don't have many friends I can talk to about this type of thing, and I consider you a friend now instead of just a YouTuber. If I get through all this BS, I'll do whatever I can to help get you to the top of the whatever. One last thing I had an idea for, and I'm like, wow. You have an idea? You want me to... How do you shift gears like that? What's going on? I want to know. Again, I'll skip over that. Again, sorry for the stupid shit I've done, but thanks for helping me out. And then his name. Nothing after that. Dude, come on, bro. That's me. Bro, can I call? Without saying your name, I call them 3 times and it's not worth it. Hit me up. Nothing. What do you do? Most people that get a message like that, they blow it off. Oh, it's a lunatic. Not me. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but like my heart really bleeds for these people. I know what it's like to be desperate and not have any answers. And, you know, you reach out, maybe you've burned so many bridges and you don't know, there's nobody there. I mean, there is somebody there. And I just thank God I had people point me in the right direction to get to these people. But it doesn't have to be this way. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope nothing happened. I hope he just slept it off and everything blew over. I don't know. He said the cops were on the way. You never know. There's always somebody out there that's got it worse than you. I don't know how he got there. I've talked to him a few times on the phone. Sometimes he sounded like he was okay. Sometimes he sounded unbelievably depressed. And I get that. I get into these unbelievable valleys that I just feel like I can't climb my way out of. I mean, it's just like this hole, and I really can't see the light. And then there's a process I go through, and a lot of it involves meditation, but a lot of it involves talking to people who have been through what I've been through. Collectively, together, we can push through that valley. There is another peak. There is always another peak. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, no matter how much time you've done, no matter how much dope you did today or how drunk you are right now listening to this, if this isn't the way of life that you want, there's a better way. But you got to pick up that 400-pound telephone. And I even say, reach out to me. This is the other day. And I'm not sitting over here to toot my own horn. I'm a big believer that doing the right thing is what you do when no one's looking. When the camera's on, there's ego involved, right? I mean, maybe there isn't. Maybe someone else is shooting it. Maybe there's a way to bypass it. That isn't a bridge I've had to cross yet. But this person, and I think it's important for me to say this, and I believe they're watching it right now. So somebody messages me July 28th. Great video, Yanni. Very happy for you. Thanks, fill in the blank. You bet. It's raw and real. I'm a true crime fan, and I don't like fake shit. You got a lot to be proud of, buddy. And at that point, I said, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I said, thank you. Why do you say that? You have hella talent. You're welcome. And then, some other stuff. So we get down to the meat of it. I'm actually meeting with a treatment center tomorrow. It makes me feel sick. I don't feel ready. I know I have a problem, but I feel I'm being made to do this. I hate it. Now keep in mind, these two people, I don't know them. I've never seen them. I mean, maybe their face on a Facebook profile or Instagram. That's it. Never seen them in the flesh. They're reaching out to me. Now I feel morally responsible for this. I hate it. For what I say, booze. The past few months have been bad. Never had a problem with it before. I say COVID has taken people to uncharted territory psychologically. She says 100%. I'm living with someone I can't stand anymore. We've been together for 10 years, 8 years too long. She says, sorry to bring up my crap. I appreciate you even responding to my message to you. I said, you're good. I'm just really tired. Let me know how it goes. And if you need someone to talk to about the alcohol, I'll do my best to be there or shoot you to someone who can. Take care of yourself and go in with an open mind. She says, oh, thank you, Yanni. I appreciate that very much. This is 3 o'clock in the morning, by the way. I want to sleep. But this is what I have to do to keep what I got. That's exactly what I told myself earlier, to go with an open mind. I said, listen, the booze ain't that big a deal. It's just you. Change is scary. Just go with the flow and take a break. Go to the treatment and just stay present. Feel everything around you. Concentrate on nothing in complete silence and darkness. Always take a couple of minutes before bed and when you wake up in the morning. Because nothing ruins your day or your evening like what happened, how you wake up and roll out of bed. There's always a way to fix that. There's a way to fix it. You do have some control over your feelings. It took me a long time to realize that. but it isn't all impulse. And that's what a lot of people are locked up for. They don't have any impulse control. I want something, I take it. I don't like you, I'm going to... some guys out there that, I want a piece of that ass, I'm going to get it. I'm going to make money, I'm going to make it happen. Let me get that bird, let me get this zone. Let me get that piece. Same shit. Change is scary, absolutely, she says, but part of me feels ready. I've let myself go to places I never thought imaginable. I'm a new grandma, and my grandson is 1.5 months old, the sweetest thing ever. He's the light of my life. I said, listen, do that for 3 minutes, and that's what I'm talking about. You cut everything off. Cut the TV off. Cut the video games off. Cut the phone off. If you can, cut the electricity off. Cut all the lights off. Let it all go. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Sit in the most comfortable place you can possibly be and just be. And just be still. And just let it happen. Be in the moment. Stay in the present tense. This is where we find out more about ourselves. But don't even think about that. Think about nothing. Try and think about nothing. Just expel it all from your brain. All from your mind, all the bills that you have to pay, the debt that you've already incurred, the husband or wife that you can't stand, the kids that won't shut up, looking for the job that just won't come, wearing a mask out in public, Biden this, Trump that, people getting killed in the streets, graffiti and riots. Just forget about all that and just be present. Do it for 2 or 3 minutes. But you've got to be serious. You've got to cut it all off. So I said, look, then before you go to sleep, count down from 10 to 1. Never to 0 because we're not zeros. We're all something, right? So taking the deep breath in between, 9 or 10. Once you get to that place. And of course, I can't get to that place on camera because you're here. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about the light. I'm thinking about the air conditioning. I'm thinking about the computer. I'm thinking about the microphone. So I say, try and hear your heartbeat. When you're really at the right place, you listen to your heartbeat. If you can hear it, you know you're there. So once you get there, then you practice mindfulness. And some of us always leap to the worst possible outcome, which almost never happens. We always do. I say, oh, this is never going to work. Fuck it. But more often than not, if my side of the street is clean, it's going to work itself out. And that worst possible conclusion almost never materializes. Now, sometimes it's bad, sure. But if we stay in the present, we don't obsess over the past, there's nothing I can do to change the past. Yes, there are repairs that can be done. There are amends that I can make. And I say, well, congratulations, but grandma isn't going to be much help if she isn't grandma. So go find yourself. Take the 30 days, go to treatment. All of that stuff will be there when you get out. And all that stuff that you left behind will be there if you want it. All of the baggage, all of the guilt, all the remorse, all the resentments, it'll all be there. Hopefully you won't pick it all up. You don't have to. And so I say, so go find yourself. The rest will be there when you return. If you want it that bad, it'll all be there. And so on and so forth. Good night and good luck and everything else. So, there's a little more to it. But the point of it is that there is a better way. And that's just a piece of it. That's just the beginning. It's a wonderful journey. It's a great quest. And to go back to my earlier point, it really hurts me that somebody would take this kind of information or this kind of the spirit, that I've gathered over the last couple of years. And I've made mistakes. I haven't been perfect. Have you? Probably not. Check your motives. Make sure your intentions are good. If they're not, you really ought to be doing something else. Yeah, go play. Forget it. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the chat. All right, so where are we at? Does anybody want me to keep going? I'll tell you what. Let me take 5 minutes. I'm going to drink some more water. When you get old like me and your liver is almost failing, or is, or whatever, I'll find out on Thursday, you gotta pee a lot. It's just one of the things. Constantly stay hydrated. It's tough. But I appreciate you hanging with me, and I'll go ahead and go through the chat. If you want, stick around, and we'll go through the chat, and maybe we can find out some more things about each other. I mean, I'm already kind of into it, so. And then look, I just got a message from this person. Like I said, I knew they were in the chat. Was Suboxone comment to me? I don't know anything about anything with that. I don't know why they would think that, because I was talking about alcohol, but whatever. Did you hear from your friend? No, I haven't. My son is 100% behind me. I raised him on my own. He's a wonderful daddy, and I'm so proud of him. So apparently she was inspired to wake him up and say, look, this is what this is what your mother has to do. Because I told her earlier, I said, listen, I have a job. I said, so? What the hell good is a job going to do if you can't continue to do it? I mean, what job is so important that your life doesn't matter? If you know internally, okay, something has to change, the only way to do it is action. I mean, words or whatever, that's nothing. Intentions are great, but unless they materialize into something tangible, something that matters, it's worthless. Into action. What's the next step you're going to take? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do tomorrow? But really, what are you going to do now? Tomorrow, you'll worry about tomorrow. If you're at this point in your life, you need to condense it down to an hour at a time. Some people, it's a minute at a time. You're hanging on by your fingernails. You're having sleepless nights. You're going through heroin withdrawals. If you're going through alcohol withdrawals, or you're going through benzodiazepine withdrawals, you need to go to the hospital, because it'll kill you. It's very possible. It's a life-threatening thing. But if it's cocaine, meth, even heroin, you can survive it. There are ways to make it easier. Cocaine and meth is more psychological. Heroin is it is very physical. But there are ways to alleviate the pain. And we'll get into that at some point if anyone's interested. I'm sure this isn't really. I think a lot of people are going to click on this stuff and be like, oh man, I gotta, but look, if a couple people get something about it, I'm not getting a lot of views anyway, so whatever. I'm not over here making any money. So yeah, if you guys could, here, let me get back to the chat real quick, because I said I was going to read comments. I didn't read but like one. I didn't even know where to start. But I'd like to go back from the beginning where I stopped, and then we'll work our way down. If you have any questions, I'd love to get into it. So give me 5. Is that cool? I'm going to go ahead and go down here. Where we at? Okay. Is that cool? Give me 5, 6, 7 minutes. Hang with me if you want. If you don't, the people who are still around, we'll spend a little more time and then shut it down. I know it's late, but I'm already up anyway. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I don't even know if I'm going to sleep. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow between 1 and 4 p.m. And then I have to go to University of Virginia to the digestive health and then the hepatology center so they can give me the good or the bad news. Hopefully I'll know what I'm dealing with then. But I have confidence. I'm doing all of the right things, so I have to believe that something or someone, some force is going to take care of me, because what matters is right here. So anyway, just give me a chance to kind of collect myself, and I'll be right back. Oh. Okay. Where were we? I said I was going to go through some comments and then probably just go ahead and shut it down. Uh, so I'm going to try and go through some of this stuff and see if, you know, where were we at? Somebody mentioned something about Syria. I think that's about where I was. They said that they actually missed Syria, which leads me to believe that they missed combat. And what I'm curious about that, I actually have. Number one, I had a buddy of mine that wanted to fight in the resistance to support the freedom fighters in Syria, which is a very, very complex situation over there. They have I don't know much about it, but there's like a regime of, dictatorship moved in there a few years ago, 10, 20 years ago, and basically took it over. And a lot of Syrians had to leave and go to Turkey, and a lot of them went to America and Greece and other countries. And what's interesting about that is that when I got out of rehab back in September of 2018, the first job I had was selling cars for, you guessed it, Syrians by way of Turkey. And to this day, my upstairs neighbors, I basically rent out the bottom of a basement, which is mostly finished, but it's a pretty humble place. But the neighbors upstairs, the people who own the place, are actually native Syrians. So again, I'm not super familiar with the situation. I've worked for their family up until March when I got sick, and because of a variety of reasons, me being reactive with what I have, I really couldn't be around people for months. I mean, I was essentially on quarantine. Some of it had to do with COVID, and some of it, not so much. So anyway. That's that story. Okay. Some people are talking about insurance. Jody A, Yanni, Mr. Popzilla. Sup, Yanni? I told you already to give you a shout out over that Philly cheese, man. I'll never forget it. Same here. Gun in hand last night. Was about to say fuck it. So that kind of gets me back to me, quitting the YouTube. And no, I saw somebody mention something about money, like I was really trying to make a fortune being a YouTuber. I don't really think, unless you've been doing this for years and years and years, that there is some kind of big money to be doing this. I mean, everything has to be super clickbaity. You could even make the argument that the title on my video was clickbaity, but it's true. And I don't know if there are people in this chat that I've ever spoke with. Maybe there are, maybe they're not. But I told them, I said, this isn't it. I'm not doing this. It's not worth it. There are a certain group of people and circumstances made this painful, not enjoyable, not even cathartic. I didn't even expect to necessarily have a bunch of fun, but I wanted to express myself, right? I wanted to do something of value, and sometimes things of value are making people laugh. I mean, that's great. I'm not in the best of moods or the funniest of moods right now. I'm in a very, thoughtful mood. I'm trying to collect myself, my thoughts, my feelings, cut them down or whittle them down to their essence and get down to what's important. And so last week, or really even a couple of days ago, I said, this is it. I'm not doing it. Number one, for a variety of reasons, it's not getting a lot of traction. Now you can make the argument, hey, you've only done 5 or 6 videos. It'll come in time. But there were a number of other circumstances which were preventing that from happening. I don't know that anybody in this chat knows what they are, but believe me, it was happening. So it's like, okay, do I really want to bump my head up against all these obstacles in order to just get a little bit of traction, or maybe get it to a point where, it is something that I could do, part-time. I can't imagine this being a full-time occupation. Because I think people don't understand, the responsibility of that. I mean, that's a lot, because once you're required, people want you to be on a schedule. They want you to crank things out every day. And there are some days where you just don't feel like doing it, and you still gotta do it. You gotta rub some dirt on it and get back in the game and crank it up. And I just was like, well, if it was like it used to be, and nobody really gave a shit, and I could come in with a clean slate, and I'll deal with stuff that happened in the past, and that's fine. But I'm coming into this thing with a really open mind, and I'm expecting people to do the same. Also, my experiences over the last couple of years, which have nothing to do with any other recovery, addiction, prison YouTube channel, they're mine. They're mine. Nobody owns them. Doesn't matter what kind of ideas I came up with in the past. It doesn't matter what I've done in the past. Nobody really knows for sure. Everybody likes to guess. Everybody's been told what to think and to feel. But I felt like it was my duty, my responsibility to control as much as I could my own destiny. Or at least do the very best that I could and then see what happens. And I felt like that wasn't happening. And then I'm thinking, holy shit, I'm actually hurting people more than I'm helping. And I still don't know if I'm not doing that because, look, I'm not a therapist, okay? I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not your sponsor. I'm not your counselor. I'm just a guy who has experienced a lot of shit. And somehow, some way, I've made it through it. And I'd like to share with you how I did it and how I'm doing it because I haven't done anything. I'm doing things. So this was the comment. My biggest issue was coming back from Syria and trying to adjust back to civilian life. Still is my issue. I miss what I did. I would imagine that's combat, and that's natural. I've never personally been in combat. At least not as a military man, but I have lots of family who have been. And that's a very difficult situation to decompress from. And I think it is probably quite similar to, moving and hustling in the streets, because the life is so exciting. And I'm sure combat is too. I mean, knowing each and every single minute could be your last. The adrenaline, the endorphin rush. You come back, you're sitting on a porch, you're hanging out with your wife, you're drinking lemonade, you're going to barbecues and ball games. It's kind of like Heat. What's a regular type life? Like your life? No, what is it? De Niro says that. What is that? No, he does say that. He says, what is that? Barbecues and ball games? Yeah. What, regular type life like your life? Nah, my life's a disaster zone. Something like that. That's my Al Pacino. The De Niro is terrible. The Al Pacino, it's okay. Needs work. All right. Use Streamlabs. I am using Streamlabs. Wish it was my meat gun. Okay, that conversation took a fucking crazy turn. All right, let's get back to shout out from Georgia. My channel has some footage from my last trip to Syria where I lost a good girl. Oh, okay, and that's where Secrets to success. Don't quit YouTube. I love your videos. So that's kind of the thing. Like I said, I said, you know what? This isn't worth it. And no, it's not because I wasn't making money. I've already given the reasons why. Now I feel it's my duty to continue with YouTube. Money, no money. If I was making money, I'd have to guarantee consistent content. Or I've thought about different formats like Patreon or something else where I can give unedited or at least a raw content and then communicate one-to-one, or at least in this type of format, every day. And if I did do something like that, a lot of people mentioned Amazon wishlist, your PayPal. I did include a link in there because somebody also made the mention. I thought you said no donations. I said, well, I was struggling with that. The struggle was, is there any way for me to make that, to give you something in return? And that's what I wrestled with. And now I do believe that I can give you something in return. So if I did do that, or if I did a Patreon, which I think is a very good format, you know, you have a number of subscribers, they commit X amount of dollars, they get things in return, whether it's early access, who cares? You're going to get it anyway. I'm really going to pay you $1 or $5 a month to see your video 2 hours before you upload it. Who gives a shit? What a gift. No, certainly you would get something more than that. I'd have to figure out exactly what the tiers and criteria are, but they wouldn't be ridiculous, and it wouldn't be nothing if you're at the lower tier. Some people can afford to give nothing or give very little, but they should get a lot in return, because let's face it, right now, dollars don't go very far, and we don't have a lot of dollars. So you put those two things in combination with each other, and what do you got? You got people having a lot of problems. Money is tight. And so it bothers me that you would even be giving me money, unless, I'm giving you something of value. So if I did something like that, I would want to make it much more interactive, where you can kind of, as much as I want to do what I want to do, I also want to do what you think is most valuable. And so if it's prison stories, yes, I do plan on, I guess I ought to talk about the direction of the channel. Maybe I should make a video about the direction of the channel. My God, each one of my videos, to be honest with you, if I wanted to make fucking money, I could have split that Pee Wee video into 3 parts. I probably could have split that boot camp video in half. I could have done the other video in half. I didn't have to cut those trailers. They don't make any money. I did it because I wanted to do it. I did it because I thought they were cool. I thought they were entertaining. I liked the music. I liked the editing. I liked the way it came out. I thought it was pretty dope, especially considering what I got to work with. I did it for the love of the game, not for the scoreboard, just because I like to play. Just put me in, coach. Give me a shot. Hand me the ball. Let me get on the mound. And let me close this thing out. Or just give me a couple innings. Let me show you what I got. That's it. All right. Hey, shout out from Georgia. That's not where I'm at, but it was where I was born, and I lived there a number of years. Do I like cooking? Yanni. I don't on the street. I just don't like cook. I don't have anything. I have a refrigerator. I'd point the camera over there, but I'm almost honestly too ashamed. I have a refrigerator that's about the size of an ice chest, maybe like an igloo, a Yeti cooler. It's about that big. It's probably about this wide, maybe 1.5 feet wide, maybe 2.5 feet deep. That's my refrigerator. My microwave is about the size of a Nintendo 64. If that. Very small. And so no dishwasher, nowhere to cook. I do have a little propane thing, but I'm not so good with fire. I tend to burn things down, so I don't mess around with that. P.S. I messaged you on Instagram about getting ripped and shredded. Well, it's interesting because I've actually lost my muscles because of the illness that I had. I don't actually have this one anymore. I got another one. But my muscles atrophied to the point where I put on 30 pounds in 6 days of fluid and then lost 32 pounds the following 6 days. Very, very traumatic to my body. And in the process of doing this, the condition was called rhabdomyolysis. And you usually get it if you work out really hard, or like the person in Syria, you wear a lot of gear, you're in a very hot place, you become very dehydrated, or you experience crush trauma. There's a couple different ways it can happen, and it gets you right to the point where it shuts down your kidneys. In a lot of cases it does. The mortality rate's about 60%. Lactic acid built up in my body. My CK levels were over 15,000. It was very touch and go for a while. Ultimately, I made it out, and I had to relearn how to walk again because it was all from my waist down, mostly in my left leg. That's where it really hit me, and I still get, some issues with my left leg now. So that, in addition to the liver problem, which I have to impress upon you, go ahead and you cut the drugs out, you cut the booze out, doesn't mean it's still not going to catch up with you. The sooner you do it, the better, because when you start getting to be my age, and I'm not young anymore, sometimes the tread gets worn off the tires and you start, burning a little rubber. The metal starts coming out, and the next thing you know, the radials are all over the road, and it's just too late. So hopefully it's not too late for me. All right. Where did I spend time at in Georgia? Okay, prison number 1 was Jackson Diagnostic Center. Number 2 was Al Burris Correctional Center, as I mentioned in the boot camp video. My next video will deal with Long State Prison in Ludwig, Georgia. I believe it's Long County, hence Long State Prison. And it was a smaller camp that had medium security, but also had outside details, which I was on initially. And then I made it to another facility. I just was a hardhead. I'll tell you all about it. If you're interested in smuggling drugs and cracking pedophilia rings, a prison pedophilia ring. That is actually my next video that is in regards to prison stories. I'm going to do a couple other things first, but the next thing is definitely. Are we live again? Hit me up at the bottom and tell me if we're live, okay? Are we live? Tell me somebody. Okay, we're live. Asshole. One of my favorite names in the YouTube troll/fan business. I don't know what it is. ASSWHOLE. Something just comes out of me. When I think of asses, a woman's ass. All right. Oh, my goodness gracious. If we get you to 100 likes, will you shave the beard? Now, I will tell you this. If you can somehow get me to 1,000 likes, I will shave the beard. Barring that, I cannot tell you how much my girlfriend wants me to get rid of this beard. She hates it. Now, for the longest time, I kept it. And I'll tell you why. Because the razors, I live by myself. But the last thing I wanted to do was bleed. Even at a just opening up my pore type thing. And then the hair, I just let it go. Now, do I know how to cut my hair with clippers? Sure. But I really got into this place where I wanted my inside. I was talking to my sponsor about it and my therapist, and I said, I really want to get to the place where my inside matches my outside. For years and years and years being in the car business, I tried to be as slick and as well-dressed and as polished as I could possibly be. And I said, you know what? We're putting that in the past. That's old news. Fact of the matter is, I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I don't want to sell cars anymore. It's something I'm good at. I know it like I know my own face. Well, I don't know my own face as well as I used to because it's been a while since I've seen it. But I know this business. I started when I was 19 years old. I'm very good at it. I could get a job practically anywhere, even with the record. I have some issues with my sales license, whatever, not a big deal. I could figure it out. Point of it is that once I became more in tune, and I'm really going to start sounding like Jim Carrey here, right? But once I became more in tune with other people around me and myself, it became much harder for me to manipulate them in order to get their money. Because the object in that particular line of work, and my God, I talk about a YouTube channel, I can tell you all the secrets. I know how to play the shell game. But I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. I couldn't go in for the kill. My eyes were open like I used to. It hurt me. It bothered me. Most people would say that's crazy. That's commerce, right? Everything is bought and sold. There's always some salesman behind it. There's always a pitch. People wouldn't buy anything if it wasn't for sales. But really, Why do you buy a car from here and not from there? Typically, it's because you like that person or you feel like you're getting a good deal or you're getting the right service. I mean, look, it even boils down to fast food. I mean, I prefer Chick-fil-A over every other place, not because they necessarily have the best food. It's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I had that Popeyes chicken sandwich the other day. First time. I had a buddy of mine that I'm interviewing a guy who is currently in rehab. He's on furlough. And next Thursday, he has to turn himself back into jail and hopefully get a bond. So I've seen people go to rehab on camera. I've seen people come out of rehab on camera. What I haven't seen is someone in rehab who has to turn themselves back into jail. I thought that would be, and I've done time with him. I bought drugs from him. It doesn't matter. That's all news. He doesn't care. We've already talked about it. I've known him for 9 years, doing time with him in various spots. I think that's going to be really interesting. He's a funny guy. You guys will like him. Okay, so we're talking about Suboxone. Yeah. Suboxone's a big deal in prison. It's so easy to smuggle. You can put it behind stamps. I mean, let's be real. I mean, you wrap it up in a little cellophane or sandwich wrapper or whatever, and that's another video. I mean, hey, do you guys really want? Can you imagine a live stream where I show everybody step by step how to suitcase something? Because a big part of my next video is going to be about smuggling drugs in prison. I've done it a lot. Somebody says, bro, you got ugly at the end. Don't be this guy, Yanni. Really? I got ugly? I'm being nice. I mean, I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm just letting you know. If only you knew. You really don't know. You really don't know. Do some digging. Do your own thinking. Figure it out. I'm being nice. I'm being very diplomatic. And I'm being as kind as I can possibly be, while also establishing there is a line. Don't cross it. Don't cross it. Please, for you, for me, for everyone else, it's better for everyone involved for you not to cross that line. And you're pushing it, man. And you know what you're doing. So anyway, yeah, addiction doesn't discriminate. I would say forget the others and focus on, believe me, I am. I'm not concerned about any of that. On the other hand, I am concerned about people being unduly influenced or wrongfully influenced by bad actors. And by bad actors, I mean people who have bad intentions or just flat out don't give a shit. It's not a can of worms I want to open up. You know, but if I have to, if I'm backed into a corner, just like when I was in prison, I'd avoid conflict, I'd avoid a fight. I'd try and talk my way out of it. But when I'm backed into a corner and I have nothing else to do but attack, believe me, I'm striking first. As soon as that danger gets a little too close, you start getting within arm's length of me, and I know something's going to happen, I'm coming at you, dude. It's the way it is. It's how you survive. Strike first, strike hard. All right, man, this is just way too much to go through. Yeah, just got to make sure you're not doing 12-step calls before you're qualified. There's a fine line there, and it's hard. And that's very important because I mentioned earlier what amounted to a 12-step call, not something that I am in a position to do for a variety of reasons. Number one is that you don't do it by yourself. Now, here I am by myself trying to perform a 12-step call. That's against the rules. You always go with someone else. Why? To protect yourself. But I had it in my head. I just want to get so... I want it to be dangerous. If it's real and I'm really in danger and my sobriety is threatened and I'm tempted, not something you can fake. Not something I wanted to fake. I wanted it to be real. And that's crazy. But I'm crazy, so that's what it is. I mean, I'll tell you this. Me getting sober and taking medication and seeing a psychotherapist and all this stuff doesn't mean I'm all of a sudden a sane person. or I'm normal. Fact is, I'll never be normal. I was never normal before I tried drugs. I sure as hell aren't normal. I sure as hell aren't normal now. I'm a long way from there. Look, I'm not. I'm getting tired. Oh man. Wow, it's 5:30. When did I start this thing? This is crazy. I started. I'm like, I'm gonna do this for 30 minutes. We'll have a little, talk to like 10 or 15 people, and we'll all say hi to each other, and I'll let you know what's going on with me, and I want to hear what's going on with you. And the next thing you know, here I am, 2.5, 3 hours later. Well, I mean, you said it. You said it. You said it. You said it. What genre do you guys want to hear during? Oh, it's The Virgin. A lot of this stuff is about something else. Again, I don't want to say anything. And you guys read into it whatever you want to. I might be talking about fucking PewDiePie. You don't know. I might be talking about Markiplier. I might be talking about Logan Paul. Leafy. I don't even know who. The only reason I even know some of these people is because people have thrown their names out at me. I've honestly never seen any of. I think I've seen Markiplier. I've never seen any of the rest of this stuff. I have no idea. Lemmy Motorhead. And a lot of this stuff that you guys are typing is not untrue. It isn't. Now, I will tell you this. When I said I'd give you something in return, and I want you to think about it. If you guys want to donate something, it's not a donation. It would be for additional equipment. And I'm happy to post in the stories. I remember you've always been a supporter. In fact, you've communicated with me in other formats before. You've always encouraged me to get back into this, man, and that token of gratitude, man, is much appreciated, and it will absolutely go to something. And as I said, anytime anybody gave me anything, or if you ever donate something, it's not a donation, it's an investment, and I'm happy to show you the receipts. So Bradley's $25. There was a person that sent me $4 and some odd change. You know, that is going to something. It'll probably go to like a boom. I need a boom arm. Maybe to that. But it's, again, I'll show you the receipt. This isn't, I feel like because of my reputation being what it is, because of how it all transpired, and because of who directed it, I have some ground that I have to make up. I have some trust that I have to build and I have to earn. And I'm happy to do that. And if I can't do that, then I don't want to be a part of it. Because being honest and transparent and having the receipts to prove it on a daily basis means that my side of the street is 100% clean, and I can sleep with a clean conscience, knowing that I used it for the right thing and it's only going to improve my videos. I want to be able to make them faster and be more consistent. I have a lot of ideas. And the thing about it is I imagine this in my mind, I put it on paper. The most depressing thing in the world is where it doesn't quite come together the way you want. And so, me being kind of a perfectionist, like this live stream, the quality of it is destroying me. I've been crying about it, not literally crying, but I mean, I've been whining about it for a week. I can't do it. Why don't you live stream? Everybody loves it when you... I can't do it. I can't look at it. It looks terrible. It sounds like shit. I won't do it. If I can't get it this way, I'm done. I can't... Finally, me doing this tonight makes it helps me let it go a little bit. You know, leave it on over there. The more I do it, the more comfortable I'll be with it, and the more I won't be so concerned about the quality issues. The fact of the matter is, getting streaming gear in this point in time, I mean, every kid who's not going to school, and they haven't gone for months because of COVID, as you know, every kid wants to be a, Call of Duty Warzone screamer. So they're like, hey, mommy, I need a Logitech C920, and I need a capture card, and I need a, and they're like, okay, no, mommy, I really need it. And they're like, shut up, here, okay, it's ordered, Amazon, it's coming in 2 days. Will you please shut your mouth and let mommy watch Real Housewives? Please. I have a Magic Chef. Is that a thing? Magic Chef? I don't know, whatever. You know, when old ladies, they get together and they've got they're like trading Tupperware or whatever. I wonder what really think about it. Have you ever been to one of those? I know you guys haven't, but think about what's really going on over there. Really? Is it about Tupperware? The Trilateral Tupperware and Food Preservation Commission. It's a very, very insidious thing. Think about it. All right. I heard Tom Cruise is going to make a movie in space. Hey, look, you got to give it up for Tom Cruise. This has nothing to do with anything, but my God, I mean, look, I think Tom Cruise is a fucking weirdo. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, the Scientology, I think he's like number 2 or number 3 in charge. He's been doing his whole life. Maybe he was out and they bribed him with something. I don't know. It's crazy. I've read a lot of books about Scientology. I could go on and on and on about that subject for a while. It fascinated me. I almost thought at one point I would go in there with a secret camera, rise through the ranks of Scientology and expose them. Ultimately, somebody wrote a book called Going Clear. He was in it, and then you had Leah Remini and all this. But wow, Scientology, very expensive religion. Very expensive religion. But anyway, Tom Cruise, pretty sure he doesn't pay taxes as a result of it. However, if you can separate the insanity, the Tom Cruise insanity, I'll tell you something else about Tom Cruise. I know a guy, he's willing to get on camera with this. He's a very, very, don't get the wrong idea, he's a very, very good-looking guy. I met him in recovery. Swears up and down. And he has some receipts for some stuff. He was on meth so bad He was a male model, underwear model, the whole thing. I mean, just incredibly. He does CrossFit. I mean, the dude is like something off of a brownie not brownie, a brawny like paper towel thing. I mean, he's just like, this huge oak of a dude, but looks like John Hamm maybe when he was younger. Anyway, so he got so bad in his addiction that he was doing G for P. And for those of you who don't know what G for P is, it's gay for pay. Now, the people on his list, and he's willing to go on camera and testify to this, apparently he became a very high-priced escort. And one of the people that, I'm not going to say his name because it will probably shut everything down, but let's just say his name's been mentioned, and we'll leave it at that. Eyes on. No bullshit. I'd like to put him on, and you can believe, you can either figure it out for yourself. All right, I'm so pumped to see Yanni back at it. Oh, I'm pumped to be back at it, Mark S. Appreciate the vote of confidence. You also hope he gets lost making this movie in space. I mean, that's a ballsy thing. I mean, to hold on to the side of a giant jumbo jet, to do the jumps that he does, climb the Burj Khalifa, and now he's going to make a movie really in space. It's not like simulated space. It's not like Gravity with Sandra Bullock, and they're like, in front of a green screen, looking like, Ray Charles, trying to find a fly in a spatula. No, these people are really, this guy is supposed to really be in space making this movie. I mean, if that's not like the next level, I don't know what the hell is. That's crazy. I'm in there. I'm buying the ticket. I'm buying the ticket. I cannot wait to go back to the movies, by the way. Boy, Tenet. I'm almost willing to get sick to see it. I'm not even kidding. All right. Join the truth movement. Conspiracy sells. I kind of did. I mean, I threw a couple of nuggets out there. You guys are pearls. You guys, go and see if you can make something out of them. Mark Crowley, consider this healthy self-therapy for yourself and continue, please. That's what I'm thinking I can do. I'm thinking I get just as much value out of this, especially late night. I think I'm going to do a lot of these late night things. The audience is kind of small. You don't have the hundreds and hundreds of people in the live chat. Maybe I leave them up for a day or two. To be honest with you, I'm going to leave this up. Why? Because maybe there are people that didn't have an opportunity to participate in this live. Maybe they'll get something out of it. Maybe I won't keep it up there forever. Because like I said, I really am ashamed of the quality. I'm looking at it now. Holy shit, it looked way worse than it did before. I'm trying to figure out the streaming aspect of it. And it, honestly, to do it properly through the software and everything else, it's not like Facebook Live or YouTube Live. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Look, camera, no problem. Shooting stuff, no problem. Getting on camera, not a problem. Editing, kind of a problem, but not the end of the world. But the social media aspect and the live streaming technology, that, my friends, is a major problem. And it's something that I'm trying to work out. And hopefully it just gets better and better and better and better. Just like the videos get better and better and better and better. We'll see. We'll see. The response. What I said is that this YouTube thing isn't a career. If you come to make good videos, then money will eventually come out of it. But you can't come here looking for money as your sole purpose. I'm not trying to mock you, but I'm pretty sure I spent 2 hours saying exactly that. Maybe I'm crazy. I think what you're doing on YouTube is great. Don't let the haters get to you. There's been very few haters in front of me. But underneath it all, you'd be surprised how insidious other people can be in this business. And again, I've said this before. This isn't my job. I don't make a living doing this. Other people do. Do I really want to be the person that affects their ability to make money? Not really. Not really. I mean, as long as they're not leading people down a really, really bad path. It's kind of like people, in the fitness industry that are trying to sell protein powder, pre-workout, amino acids, BCAAs, all this crap. Some of it's good, some of it's okay, whatever. But you're going to look like me if you do this. You follow this routine and you take this stuff and you eat this food, you can look like me. No, you can't. Some people you can, but most of them you can't. They're on, and I know a lot about this subject. They're on something. If you think that person looks too good, too lean, too large and lean and full and all that stuff, they look too good to be true. You never seen anybody on the street walk around like that? It's because they don't look, it's impossible to look like that without being enhanced, and that's a personal choice. I myself have gotten very close to taking steroids before. I don't have any personal reservations against anyone that makes that choice. But there are consequences and there are drawbacks. And what's interesting, I ought to make a video about this. There are a lot of people in AA and NA, a lot of people in 12-step programs, they get clean, and then they start taking the juice. They become obsessive about working out. And believe me, I know what it's like to be obsessive about everything. I've been addicted to everything from fantasy football to working out to eating clean to Rocket League to building a prison cell in my house or in my dwelling. I mean, what kind of a fucked up individual is so institutionalized that they build a prison cell full with a bed, a rack to put their stuff? What kind of a lunatic does that? You're looking at him. That's me. All right, well, go take care of your kid, man. Today is a gift, guys. Make the best of it. Absolutely. Okay. Sirius B, the dog star, Interstellar Combat. You're going to have to clarify that, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. Theseus, you can clean the slate by just putting the past behind you and moving forward. This guy's like a human, he's like a walking, talking fortune cookie, Theseus. I ought to just, put you in a box and get some, what are fortune cookies made out of? Like, I think they're made out of styrofoam. You ought to get your styrofoam, paint it brown, put the messages in there, and then I'll just open them. Whenever I need a little motivation or a little inspiration or a little wisdom, I'll just pop it open and I'll be, oh, Theseus has spoken. Everything's going to work out. I got it. I got the answer. Just kidding, buddy. I appreciate the motivation. Sirius is a binary star system. So I guess that means there's two. Fascinating. Okay. Theseus likes to talk. I think you should film flat earth proofs. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, anybody knows that the earth is flat. I mean, millions of 8K and 12K images broadcast from the International Space Station, space shuttles, Chinese satellites. I mean, they're all together. They're all in on the conspiracy. It's none of it's real. Right? Jesus Christ. Your mug is huge. Okay, so that mug actually it spilled everywhere, and I really need to, I'm going to have to cut this short because I got to wipe it up because water's getting everywhere. The mug actually came from the hospital. They gave me that mug because they wanted to, you have to drink 3 of those per day in order to give you the amount of fluid and hydration that you need on top of the IVs and everything else. And so this is the place. It's the University of Virginia. And they have they've done more liver transplants there. They do more with digestive health and hepatology, which is liver as well. And so that's where I've been treated, and that's where I'm going. It's in Charlottesville. It's a couple hours away. So on Thursday, I thought about maybe vlogging that experience. Maybe you guys would be interested. I don't know. But that really should tell the tale. Of course, I might get there and they're like, nah, we need to run some more tests. But my goal is to be cleared to work. like I said, not my job. Again, anybody who knows me, my work ethic is second to none. I bust my ass in every facet of my life, especially now. But even then, even when I was using, I was getting high, I still killed myself at work. Nothing new about that. All right. No, I'm not taking what you're telling me personally, Theseus. You just, no, I told you the fortune cookie thing, you and I, you want to make some money, you want to, because you keep lecturing me about money and this isn't a business and so on and so forth, and I get it. I told you it might be pajamas. I'll do PJ. PJ, that's the, I guess the acronym for prison junkie. Maybe I can make pajamas. With a little flap, like old school. I mean, because imagine a guy. I mean, what every guy wants to do, they don't want to pull your pants down, unzip everything. You just got a little snap, maybe Velcro. You pull the Velcro out and you just let it hang out and just go. Which reminds me, there's something, I don't know what it is about it. One thing I miss being drunk is I used to love to piss outside. Am I the only person that just likes to pee outside? Is it some animalistic thing or is that just me? I don't know. That's a real tangent. Okay, I appreciate it, Mark. Oh, wow, now we're just now getting back to... I don't know what you guys are talking about with a wrench. I guess it's a moderator gets the wrench. I go by the name Emily, by the way. So be nice. Be nice. It's part of my furry personality or brony. Anyway, I know I'm not entertaining you people at all anymore. I'm so tired. Personally, I enjoy seeing the scale tip to both extremes. I appreciate the human element. I don't really understand what you're talking about there. If you want to elaborate, I'm happy to hear it. Hey, how did Joe treat you honestly, and have you seen Danny's comeback video? I honestly don't think that there's any value in discussing that particular deal. It just kind of dredges up bad memories, probably for both of us. So what's the point? And then have I seen Danny's comeback? I don't even know who Danny is. I think he's the old guy or the guy that had been locked up for 35 years or something. He was Mexican or Hispanic and had the tattoo on his head. I thought it was an interesting concept. It's something I always wanted to do personally. I did see that they've done it. You have to believe me when I tell you, I don't care whether it's any of these prison channels. I've literally, even if I'm in it, only if I've edited and put it all together, have I watched it from beginning to end. There is not a single, there is one video, I take that back. There is one video that I was in that I saw, or that it was about me. And I saw that from beginning to end. Other than that, I literally have never seen a live stream, a podcast, a video that even I was in from the beginning to the end because, well, you can figure it out. And this is when I did that for a living. Not much of a living, but I did it. Honestly, I'm not going to get into that. Have you repaired my relationship with my parents? My relationship with my parents is excellent. It's very good. I talk to one of my parents at least every day. So that's good. They're not over here supporting me, so that's good. The fact of the matter is I was making excellent money. This isn't a replacement for the money I was making in the car business. The fact of the matter is I'm not doing that now. I cannot go to work. I'm hoping, again, to be cleared for work on the 14th. Cleared to exercise on the 14th. Cleared to be around more people. That's why I go out at night. And I'm going to make a video about why I go out so much at night. And it isn't just about my illness. And I don't really want any sympathy for that. To be honest with you, whatever I've done in my life, karmically, physically, in a way, it is what it is. I mean, I have it. There's nothing I can do about it. Knowing what I have was such a huge load off my shoulders. It made a big difference. Not knowing is the worst. And that's what it is with drugs. That's what it is with drugs. When you don't know, when you're on drugs and you're trying to get sober or whatever, the unknown, it kills you. That's why I'm so much about the present tense. And my inspiration, interestingly enough, was a song called Present Tense. It's by Pearl Jam. I was watching The Last Dance about Michael Jordan. I'm a big sports fan. I could talk about basketball, football, baseball, boxing, all day. I mean, all day. There's not much to talk about now because there's not much going on now. But this 10-part documentary on Michael Jordan, how competitive he was, and the sacrifices he made to become, in a lot of cases, reviled by his teammates. They didn't like him. He was an asshole. But then after having some years to think about it, they're like, hey, look, the reason we won so many championships is because of him, because he pushed us. And all this stuff is sort of collecting, as you've gotten through 10 hours of this documentary. It's incredibly long. It's 10 one-hour episodes. If you're into basketball at all, it's incredible. I highly recommend it. But they get down to the end, and they know it's over. That's the last dance. It's all going to end. This person's going to make too much money. This person wants to leave. Phil Jackson, he's got to get out of there. I'm going to bore you to death with this story, but Michael Jordan's sitting there in the middle of it all, and he wants to continue because they've won 6 titles with him at the helm. They won 3, didn't win 2. He came back in the middle of the second. And so he thinks we've got enough gas in the tank to go for one more. But Phil Jackson is like, I'm done with this place. I'm done with the GM. I'm not going to do it anymore. Scottie Pippen has been incredibly underpaid. I got to get mine. And it's completely understandable. He had a horrible contract. Fine. So he finally realizes, okay, this is it. And he gets everybody together. And Phil Jackson is this like amazing spiritual force. He's into like a lot of Native American rituals and all this sort of stuff. And he's a searcher. He's always searching for meaning. He's an existential archaeologist. Let's put it like that. I think that's a very interesting way of putting it. So he says, everybody write a poem about what this journey meant to you. We're going to read them aloud amongst each other. No one else is going to know what it said. And we're going to throw it in a barrel, and we're going to set it on fire. And that's going to be the end of that. Nobody else will know what's in each other's hearts. We're going to throw it in this barrel, and it'll be there. It'll go off into the ether, into the air, which is an amazing thing. And all of these players, they said, I had no idea it meant so much to Michael. I meant so much to him and the team and all these things that I thought he never cared about or noticed, he did. And he expressed it in this poem. Of course, everybody wants to know what's in the poem. They won't say because it all died right there. But in that moment, at the very end, he's sitting there with his big honking cigar and he's looking out the window. And you realize in that moment, he doesn't care about this stuff, the money and everything else. It's all a game to him. Everything is a game. But he's never going to recapture, that magic that he had then. But he knows that in his heart of hearts, he did everything he could to make it happen. And this song, which is ironic because it's Pearl Jam Present Tense is the name of the song. And it just to get me in the right mood. I'm not an enormous Pearl Jam fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just the perfect marriage of image, inspiration. Great song to close the show, this 10-hour saga. And it just spells out everything that you need to be in the place where you are right now. Because every single experience that you've ever had in your life has led to you being here, right here in this chat. If something else goes a little left or a little right, or you make a little different decision here or there, you marry a different woman, you have a different kid, you slip on a banana peel, you take a different job, maybe your hours are different, you wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking to each other. It'd be completely different. You'd be off somewhere else, and maybe I would too. Every single one of these experiences that you and I have led us to this very moment with each other. It's incredible. Present tense. Get there. If you sell your soul, you'll do big things. I my soul's not for sale. I want you guys to ask yourself a very serious question. Is the reason that you're tuning into this live stream, I think a lot of you are. Is it muted? This is muted? Oh, okay. I think a lot of you are, and you really need to evaluate what you care about in life. You really want to see me go toe to toe with somebody, right? That's what you really want. You want the car crash. You want me to get blown up into smithereens, or maybe vice versa. It would be impossible for vice versa to happen. But why the negativity? Why do you want the drama? Does that make you feel better about yourself? Does it make you feel superior to these morons, these stupid convicts that are just going at each other like little chihuahuas? Not gonna do shit, for real. What's gonna happen? Nothing. You guys have no idea. I might be the best friend. This person that you keep wanting me to engage with, I may not have been talking about that person at all. For all you know, he's my best friend. And this is all some sort of Machiavellian plot to build up to this dramatic explosion. I can tell you right now, look you in the eye and tell you, no, that's not the case. But how do you really know? And why do you want to see it? And what does it really mean? Let me ask you a serious question. What do you think I owe? I owe you? I owe him? I owe another channel? I owe YouTube? I have a long list of debts that are unpaid that I will have to make amends for, and I will have to pay at some point in my life. I can tell you this with my conscience being clear as an unmuddied lake, as old Malcolm McDowell said in A Clockwork Orange. Crystal clear. I have absolutely nothing to apologize for in that situation. Now, you may say, well, you're not being humble. And maybe right now I'm not. But I think I've done my apologizing, and how it may not have been in this particular live stream, but I'm not going to continually begging for your forgiveness or anyone else's. I've made my peace, and I've made my peace known multiple times. So why do you want me to continually repeat it and rehash it? What do you want? Really ask yourself the question, what do you really want? You want somebody to get their head beat in over it? You want somebody to get killed? You just want an internet feud, like a couple little bickering broads, go back and forth on Twitter or YouTube? What do you want? What do you want? Think about this. How would you feel if someone made a video about you to the tune of 300,000 views, essentially saying, hey, you're the biggest piece of shit in the galaxy? Would you enjoy that? Have you ever lived with that? I bet nobody in this chat knows what that feels like. I bet nobody in this chat knows what it's like to hear thousands of people tell them what a junkie, crackhead piece of shit they are. The so-and-so made you. You would be nothing without that person. What do you want to see? What do you want me to do? Talk about it? For what? How's that productive? How's that positive? Not everything I do is going to be positive or productive, but what do you want? I want to know, what do you really want? What do you want out of that situation? Do you want this other person to make a video? I can't keep up with that. I have 2,500 subscribers. This person you're talking about has 1.5 million. You think I can compete with that? You think if I said anything about that, anything good would come of that? I'd get steamrolled. I don't have the resources, nor the manpower, nor the patience, nor the time. And to be honest with you, it's not healthy for me. But what I really want to know, what do you want? What do you want out of it? You just want the truth, the insider, turning over the rock and showing you giving you the blue pill instead of the red, or the red or the blue, whichever one it is? I mean, what do you want? If you want me to have a nervous breakdown, do you want this person to lose everything they have? I mean, what do you want? What could I possibly give you in that situation that would make you satisfied? We get it. We can't hear you. Please, with the all caps, it's so annoying. How long? And then here it is. Now I'm going through this stuff, and it's all about everybody but me or you, which is not the point of this live stream. So that is what you really want. And to be honest with you, that's why I said it's just not worth it. It makes me feel like the majority of you people, and please forgive me for saying you people, it makes me feel like the majority of fans of these shows just want drama. They don't really want to understand what it's like to be a convict. They might be convicts themselves and and want to figure out how better to adapt or become clean or watch a document of someone else's existence, how they cope or they don't cope. Maybe they crash, maybe they burn, maybe they fail, maybe they succeed. I mean, it takes all kinds, it takes all flavors. What do you want? What is it about you that wants to see the car crash? You just want my opinion about it? Why do you want my opinion? Because if I give you my opinion, you'll feel the same way? Or if I offer up a couple of facts, you'll feel differently about it? If you're familiar, and I'm going to tell you this. This is what I'll give you, and then I'll shut up. If you're familiar enough with any individual, because let's be real. I mean, YouTube to a large extent, and I've mentioned this before, and everybody says I was being a smart ass and trying to Look, it's, in a lot of cases, it's a cult of personality, right? So you become used to this person. They upload a video every day, and it's like, oh, that's my friend. That's my friend. There he is. His familiar voice, his familiar jokes, his familiar whatever, or her. He's funny, so yeah, you can treat people however you want. It doesn't matter that all these people got hurt along the way. He's so nice, seems so humble. And maybe they are. Maybe they are. The only thing that I can do, I said this a million times, I do play poker. Somebody asked me if I play poker, I do. One of my favorite things to do in prison or jail or whatever is to play poker. I'm an excellent player. Wouldn't say pro caliber, but when my game is sharp, not too shabby. Trend, yes, Trend is very dangerous. Yanni, do you ever watch space documentaries? The last one I saw was Apollo 11, and it was, I think it was Apollo 11. And it was restored footage shot on 70 millimeter back in the 60s or whatever, the 71 or whenever it was shot. It was incredible. Not a lot of commentary, really none at all. It was just kind of a cinema verite. You are there. And the footage was just so beautiful. I mean, it looked like it was shot yesterday in a lot of cases. It was amazing. It was a real time capsule. Highly recommended. I'm in the UK, but am I right in thinking all that medical treatment you had to pay for yourself? See, that's a big problem, isn't it, right? So I did. I did have to pay for it myself. I did have to pay for rehab. I did have to pay for the lawyer. I paid a lot of money. I mean, this thing, I might still be in jail if I wasn't able to scrape up over $10,000. And that was selling equipment. That was a little help from my family, which ultimately I had to pay back. That is a handout that I took that I needed. I needed it. And and the thing about it is they looked me in the eye and they told me, and they've always said this, Yanni, the only thing that we want for you is to get sober. People's expectations change though, right? So you do get sober and they say, whoa, you're kind of crazy. And I'm like, well, you wanted me sober, right? That's what you wanted, right? Well, And then they want something else. Like, for instance, this. My family doesn't want me to do this. They hate YouTube. They hate me being a part of it. And they hate the stuff that I'm talking about. That's you. That's personal business. Talking about prison makes the family look bad. You got to understand. Nobody else in my family has been locked up. I mean, I'm it. And I've been locked up a lot. I can't even count how many times. One of these days, we'll go through my whole criminal rap sheet just for laughs. Because it's so funny. But we'll go through it. And I'll tell you, each and everything that happened which led up to this, I'll tell you this. Very few people get locked up for things they didn't do. And me personally, I'm pretty sure I did everything I've been charged with. Stupid question equals, what time do you get up or do you go to bed after your channel? I don't even know what that... This is the second time I've done this. That's so important. Morning. Always live in the now. I tried to tell you. I want to see you do the dirty Charleston. Now that, my friend, that guy right there, boy, he helped me get through some tough times in jail and prison. And so we used to come up with these little dances. You know, it's crazy. I was back in prison. We had this little group, Vaughn, Derek, and Lee. Vaughn is an MMA fighter and trainer in California. Lee is a guy who's a union, he's a longshoreman. And then Derek, God only knows what you do. But anyway, we were quite the surreal little clique in prison. And we'd always come up with these little dances and fake songs. And one of them was the Dirty Charleston. A lot of, what was it, for about a month or two, we'd come up with these little terms for harlots. I can't remember. It was always trollops. I mean, it was just, we couldn't talk about women. We couldn't say, you couldn't say, I don't say bitch anyway. I've never referred to women as bitches. I mean, not really. I'm sure one of them's made me mad and I've said, you're a fucking bitch. But really, that's just not part of my vernacular as far as it goes. But yeah, it was like trollops and trollops and floozies. And anyway, so the Charleston is like a little dance. And we used to do this thing called the Dirty Charleston. I mean, we were very weird in prison, I have to tell you. Lots of drawing, art. I was an actor in prison. And it's, if you can believe that. I think that as long as that person, it doesn't matter. Maybe one of these days all right, buddy, man, good luck. Have a good time at work, man. Appreciate the Dirty Charleston reference. Rob BB, you're doing good without drama, to be honest. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. It's tough. It's tough. Why am I doing this for so long? I should like chop. I don't even know how to. There was the last live stream. I literally couldn't cut the first 5 minutes off. I was trying to figure out what was going on with the camera. Who needs that? Hey, Virgin, save the video to his channel. Can't watch it. I'll save it. Don't make a big deal about it. I know I mentioned some issues that I have with some other prison YouTubers, but I never said anything about anyone specifically other than, yeah, it hurt my feelings to have not one but two videos made specifically about me and what a piece of shit I was and really had no basis in reality. I mean, that hurts. You know? I mean, it would hurt anyone. Especially when you're in jail and you hear about it. It wasn't done while I was on the street. It was done while I couldn't defend myself. Anyhow. That's tough. Now, it also is important that, and maybe I should, look, I have had conversations with, that individual, and I thought that they went pretty well. And then all of a sudden, something else happened and I just didn't understand it. And, not everything is for me to understand. That's all. I can't jump in somebody's head. What are you doing? Completely lost everything. Well, I've completely lost track of where I'm at. Somebody tried to call me. Look, all right, look, you're doing good without drama. It's never enough when you apologize, and that's true. Whatever price or penance I've had to pay for things that I've done in the past, in my opinion, I have more than taken care of my end of the bill. I paid for the whole table. I OD'd in that parking lot back in April of 2015. I did 4 months in jail. God, what are you doing? What is... What? Are you serious? What is this about? Please. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you exactly. I want to show you exactly what happened. I want to put you in the mind. I want to go back in time. It's going to be very painful, but I want to go back to that point, to that very point right before I overdosed. And I want to tell the story of what happened to me after that. Now, all you'd have to do is you could probably find in court records exactly what did happen. Okay, which is that the short of it is that I did 4 months in jail. I was able to get a bond, or furlough rather, to a treatment center, which I did. I was there for 52 days, and then I had to go back to jail to get a bond, which I ultimately did. And then I stayed in a sober living house for a period of time, a long period of time. And then I went back to court, and the judge said, well, look, even the Commonwealth was on my team. He said, look, I don't care what you've done. I didn't say I didn't care what you did. He said, you've done a lot of good things. But it's your second violation, and there has to be consequences. Now, I honestly thought, I said, well, whoa. I didn't hurt anybody. It was just on me and in me. In fact, I went to the hospital. I wasn't selling anything. I was in a parking lot, fighting for my life after making a bad decision. Did 4 months in jail. Paid over $10,000, lived in a sober living house, and found the way forward. Was a tax-paying citizen making very good money for an ex-con. He said, look, I got to give you consequences. I have to. Do you really have to? The Commonwealth was on board with, he even said, look, I don't even understand why this person needs to go back in. I mean, Mr. Christo's done everything that he needs to do. I had something like 33 clean urines. I had one done every week, observed. None of them were dirty. Observed. I have the paperwork if you'd like to see it. Observed. You got to have consequences. That's not enough. That's not enough? Really? That's not enough? Okay. So I go into jail sober. 6 months. Get out. I'm not feeling so good when I get out. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. It took me a little while to get back to the center. Because it's different. When you commit a crime, you get locked up, you're going to lay it down for a minute. It's different when you've done all the right things. Yeah, the initial thing was the wrong thing. But to be real, I mean, there's a lot of countries. There are a lot of countries, but there are a lot of states where it would have been nothing. Portugal, for instance, they detain you. You have a narcotic drug on you. Fine. We detain you. We stage an intervention. We give you the option for state-sponsored treatment. You either take it or we'll see you later. We will confiscate your drugs. But that's it. Most of California, not a felony anymore. Other states, I believe it's the same. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. What I owe you, I actually do owe the audience something. I do. So whether you're a fan of any prison channel or recovery channel, I think it's very important to bring my experience of recovery into it because I really don't see that anywhere else. Now they may say, oh, I'm clean. And then you'll see them drinking a 40 at a barbecue or whatever. What are you doing about it? We've already established it's action. Now, am I the guru? Do I have the entire playbook? No, I'm learning as I go. But I am seeking. I am hunting, and I want the truth. And I want the truth of how to lead, I wouldn't even say a happy existence. Some people aren't really meant to be happy, but I want to be reasonably content. What makes me happy, or what makes me satisfied, is to create something, and then it becomes close, because it's never going to be exactly what you want. But to work out an idea in my head, put it on paper, maybe, or maybe not on paper, and then try and translate that idea into something tangible that I can share with someone else. I mean, it's one thing if it's just for me, but that's kind of a selfish thing, right? You know, I want to share it with someone else. And by sharing it with someone else, maybe they'll feel more compelled to share it with me. Because the truth is that every time I talk to, at least in addiction and recovery, I talk to someone, there is something I can take. And it might not even be perceptible. I might not even understand what it is until later. It might be just what not to do. The mistake that person made is the mistake I've already made, don't need to make it again. But the fact of the matter is, this is not misery. Even though I have all of this stuff, like I said, very sick, been in the house for God only knows how many months, 5 for the most part. My levels are at the point now where I can kind of move around a little bit. Clarity of thought, lucidity, being able to connect the dots, put the pieces together, you know, where it's not just like a jigsaw puzzle with like 78 pieces missing and none of it really adds up. Sometimes it feels like that, but for the most part, the thing that I chase, it isn't the coke or the heroin or the dope or anything else. The thing that I chase is clarity. We only have so much time in this world, and I've wasted so much of my time. In a way. But again, it all led me to this point. I don't want to experience what I already have experienced as far as the negative stuff is concerned. And of course, my life isn't going to be a bed of roses always going forward. There are a lot of things I have to contend with, lots of obstacles, so on and so forth. But boy, if I can take that amalgamation, that whole pot that's stewing, and make something that no one else has ever made before, or make it in just a little bit different way, because let's face it, almost everything's been done before in some way, shape, or form. It's just, what are you bringing to the table? What personal stamp are you putting on it? And each and every one of you is capable of doing that. You don't have to live a miserable existence. You don't have to just wait for death to come knocking. And let me tell you something. I have days where I do feel like that. And then I have to take a number of steps to get through it, because no matter how bad it seems right now, I promise you, it will not last. It will pass. But there are ways to get it to pass faster. And speaking of passing faster, we need to pass this on a little faster, because my goodness gracious, this has been going on forever. I said, look, I'm going to do an hour tops. I don't have any energy. I'm exhausted. Something in me kept me going. What is it? I don't know. I'm, it's beyond my comprehension. Is it God? Maybe. Is it the universe? Possibly. Is it some sort of energy that, every once in a while, your spirit, whatever that is, maybe it's a combination of molecules and subatomic particles. They just align with one another, and you're just in that flow, and everything sort of like makes sense. Doesn't happen all the time, but when you get into the stream, stay in the stream. Don't swim upstream. Stay in the stream and see where it goes. You'd be amazed at where it might take you. And that's what I'm excited about more than anything else, is where it might take me. So. Okay. That's nice. I appreciate it, Bradley. I hope this helps. I've got your back, man. Don't let the bullshit and drama drag you down or live rent-free in your mind. I appreciate it. Sarah K., I truly believe that the U.S. prison system is just about making money. They don't want to help people overcome their problems. They just want to make as much money as they can. Yanni, can you explain how the 4 square works in car negotiation? I actually do the 3 square. It's my own little twist on the 4 square. I will do it. Maybe I'll get into convicts selling cars. I always thought that would be interesting. I really wanted to work at a car dealership and have, the hijinks and the drama. You think there's drama on prison YouTube or YouTube in general? Boy. Busted wallet garage. I put my personal stamp on my couch when I pooped myself the other day. That's terrific, George. Really. I mean, keep coming back, buddy. But yeah, I can explain the 4 square some other time. It take me too long to get into it. I mean, ultimately, look, the 4 square is this, okay? So we want to when you're selling cars and you're doing the 4 square, you want to, wow, thanks again, Bradley. Boy, I really appreciate it. Wow, $52.77. Is that for real? Is this real life? I might be able to eat another week. It's incredible. Seriously, I mean, but again, seriously, anything again donated to me or given to me, exchanged to me, what's the word? Whatever. It's a transaction which will result in something in return. And so I'm going to make very good use of that. And I'll post a receipt tomorrow or the next day. So keep accounting of it and keep my feet to the fire. Keep me accountable. That's what this is all about, is keeping each other accountable, right? What you do when no one's looking, and sometimes what you do when everyone's looking. But so anyway, real quick, and I'm going to close it out. The 4 square is designed to get you to look at the 4 options, and it's a shell game. We all want you to pick the same option. Whole object of the car business is to get you off payment. Feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. I buy cars too. And I felt that way before when I ran into someone that I didn't trust. What I found is that when I did find someone I trusted, I wanted to do everything I can to give them my business because I wanted to build a long-standing relationship to that person. Because not only do I want to sell or buy a car from that person, but I also want my wife and my kids and everyone else. That's kind of flipping it on its head, but that's the feel, felt, found in the car business. Of course, there's the 3 Ps. Person, product, price. When somebody's balking at a car deal and they say, I got to go home and think about it. I said, whoa, Daryl St. John. Listen, Daryl, listen. Is it me? Is it something I said? I mean, look, what did I do? Please, let me know. Did I say something to offend you? And Daryl says, oh, no. You've been great. You've been so nice. You've been so helpful. Well, then it must be the car, right? It's not the right thing. I mean, I thought that we were speccing it out. It was everything that you wanted with all the options. Is the car? No. The car is perfect. It's everything I wanted. Well, then it must be the price. Am I right, Daryl? It's the price of the car that's bothering you. Am I right? What if we were to, and I'm not saying that I could do it, but what if we were to, and you have the 4 square, and it's, $780, and nobody's paying $400 a month for a car anymore. $780 for 82 months. So, now listen, I understand. Is it the monthly payment? Is it the term? Which one of these is the one that we really need to work on? Let me ask you a question. Is it the down? You said the down payment was no problem, right? Am I right about that, Daryl? Yeah, that's no problem. So it's really you want to lower the monthly payment. What if I could get that $780 monthly payment? What if I could get that into the 6s? Would you buy it today? Well, I'm not saying I can do it, Daryl. I'm not guaranteeing you anything. Ultimately, it's not my decision, but I am an advocate for you, Daryl. Tell you what, it seems like, the best deal is a deal where both parties can walk away satisfied. So I'll tell you what, here, go ahead and give me your initial here. I'll take it back to the manager. If he goes for it, and I'm not saying he will, but I'm going to go to bat for you, Daryl, because I want you to drive home in that Kia Sophia, that 1997 Kia Sophia, the one with all the rust spots. I want you to take that vehicle home today so you can enjoy it this weekend with your family. Yeah, that one. I know you have 7 kids. Trust me, the trunk works just fine. You can probably throw 3 back in there. In fact, you got the 60-40 folding split in the back. It's no problem. You got a tall kid, you just lay him in there parallel with the car. Everything will be fine. You can't drive a stick? I understand. I understand. Mick over there, a mechanic, be happy to teach you. Well, he's not a mechanic. Actually, Mick doesn't even work here. I don't know who he is, but he told me he can drive stick. Listen, the point of it is, Daryl, is that we've got you taken care of. Go ahead and initial right there, and I'll be right back. Hokey doke. And there you go. That's it. That's it. It's the corniest shit in the world. But the Foursquare negotiation why are we talking about this? So it's designed to get you a couple of really unattractive options and then the one that's the most attractive. Now, providing we've completely gotten you off the price of the car, this is the one. This is the warranty. This is everything. Of course, you need gap insurance. You want me to explain gap insurance to you? You already know what it is. Look, 3 years, bumper-to-bumper coverage. That's an extended one. It's factory coverage that you're getting there. And it's underwritten by General Motors, which is the same company of the car that you're purchasing here. They have their own underwriters. Not every other extended warranty does, but GM does, so you're taken care of. And so on and so forth. And then they pick the one, now let me ask you this. Which one of the 4 is the most attractive to you? Well, this one, but, you want to work on the monthly pay. So it's all about isolating the real objection. That is the Foursquare. That's it. It's very simple. That's it. So if nothing else, if you learn nothing else about sobriety or anything else, you've learned how to... One thing to keep in mind with the car business, and this is why I justified it for many years in my mind, you got to understand that my first stint in prison, we're going to get into this, I was actually sales manager of a Nissan dealership back in my mid-20s, and, I might have taken a company car on a crazy crack binge and maybe didn't come back for 5 days, and maybe somebody got into a high-speed chase with the police and ran the thing into a guardrail, and then maybe a bunch of other stuff happened, and it's a hell of a story. It's a hell of a story. I can't wait to tell it. It's embarrassing as hell. I'll probably get kicked off the internet for having told it because it's pretty fucked up. So anyway, listen, I think we have come to the end of this. I'm about to fall flat on my face. This has been literally, when did we start this? 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. But I'm not doing that anymore. That's the thing. That's why I'm doing some of this. And I've had lots of jobs. I've worked very hard in my life. These hands right here haven't worked in a couple of months. They still have calluses. And look, there are prison YouTubers who have actually worked for me. They'll tell you how hard I work. I own my own backyard contracting business for quite a long time, and I did it when I got out of prison in 2015. I made very good money doing it, and I'm happy to show pictures and everything. Anyway, I need to make no apologies for that. I'm a very hard worker. My work ethic is not too shabby. So listen, you've learned a little bit about the car business. You've learned a little bit about me. You learned that I'm an insomniac. You learned that I'm not quitting YouTube. I'm just getting warmed up. And I feel like I know a lot more about you now than I did before, and I hope you feel the same about me. So, with all that said, please, again, if you haven't already, smash that like button, elbow that subscription word, and then take a big fat uppercut to that notification bell. That way because you never know with me. There is no schedule as of yet. I'd love to get on one. We'll see. But for now, there is no schedule. I might hit you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It might be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In fact, I may take an hour nap, or I might have my customary. Somebody talked about getting ripped. Every morning I eat old-fashioned oats with a scoop of oatmeal, a scoop of whey isolate, not the, just the cleanest whey that I can put in there. And I add a few peanuts or some trail mix in there to give it a little bit of roughage, a little crunch. And then I don't cook it for long. I try to cook the oatmeal as little as possible to preserve as many nutrients as I possibly can. Is that real? Does that work? I don't know. It's worked for me. I mean, I'm 43 years old and I haven't worked out in a while and I still don't have much body fat. Now maybe it's because I'm dying, but either way, I'm still look pretty good with my shirt off. So in any case, benzos fix my insomnia. Way to close it out, Johnny James, with the benzos fix my insomnia. That's terrific. I'm pretty sure last time you told me you were a benzo addict. Come on, man. A little positivity, man. A little bit of hope. Anyway, it has been more fun for me than it was for you. And I'm sorry I couldn't really bring a whole lot of the comedy here. I was just very tired and I felt like I needed to get a few things off my chest. Thanks for hanging with me. No, I'm not going to sleep. I have a doctor's appointment in just a few hours, so I'm going to have to do that. I don't know. I might play some Rocket League, maybe edit a video. I don't know. I got a few cooking right now, so... or maybe I'll just fall flat on my face, set my alarm clock for 12:30 and just be 15 minutes late to my doctor's appointment. You just never know. But I'll tell you what I won't do today. I'm not getting high today, and I'm not taking a drink today, and I'm going to be of sound mind today, at least as sound as I can be, knowing what I'm working with up here. And that's my number one goal every day. Everything else is secondary. The rest will take care of itself. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging, and gals, for hanging tough with me. I know it's been a long journey, but it isn't over yet. So have a great day.